of Taiz has been the site of major fighting on both sides, with the pro-Saudi forces trying to gain control of the main highway between their de facto capital of Aden and the capital city of Sana'a. The city is divided, however, and the Houthis have made recent gains. Fighting in urban areas around Yemen have left massive numbers of civilians dead, with both sides repeatedly faulted for careless targeting. The United Nations has estimated that a strong majority of the civilians slain in the war so far have been the result of Saudi airstrikes, though the Houthis have been responsible for quite a few themselves. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Oklahoma Supreme Court unanimously struck down a bill passed by the state legislature restricting abortion in a ruling on Tuesday that the measure was unconstitutional. Senate Bill 642 was passed in 2015 but did not go into effect pending a court decision. It encompassed 4 abortion-related topics: parental consent for minors, tissue preservation, inspection of clinics, and the legal liability of abortion providers. Justice Joseph Watt wrote for the 9-member court, "We find that each of the 4 sections of SB 642 lack a common purpose and are not germane, relative, and cognate. Although each section relates in some way to abortion, the broad sweep of each section does not cure the single subject defects in this bill. Although defendants urge that SB 642 does not constitute log rolling, we find the provisions are so unrelated that those voting on this bill were faced with a constitutionally prohibited all-or-nothing choice to ensure the passage of favorable legislation. The 9-member court ruled the legislation placed an undue burden on access to abortion under the guise of protecting the health of women. The law would have penalized violators, including a felony for someone who helped obtain an abortion without parental consent, and it would have required providers to preserve fetal tissue when an abortion was performed on someone under the age of 14. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley declared a state of emergency on Tuesday and ordered an evacuation of more than 1 million people in coastal areas starting Wednesday afternoon in anticipation of Hurricane Matthew. Florida and Georgia have also called states of emergency for a storm that pounded the Caribbean with 145-mile-per-hour winds and surging seas and was expected to start affecting U.S. coastal areas late Thursday or early Friday. Haley pleaded with people to get 100 miles away from the coast, but did not say if there would be penalties for those who refuse to comply. She told reporters, "We do not do voluntary or mandatory anymore. An evacuation is an evacuation." By declaring a state of emergency, Haley can mobilize 1,800 members of the National Guard. Highways will have all lanes directed away from the coast for the evacuation, and the state will close schools and county government offices in 26 of the state's 46 counties starting Wednesday. Hurricane Matthew is expected to be a Category 2 or 3 hurricane when it brushes or hits South Carolina on Friday night. Officials anticipate 100-mile-per-hour winds and 5 to 7-foot storm surges in coastal South Carolina. Florida Governor Rick Scott, who declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties of Florida on Monday, has activated 200 members of the Florida National Guard to support any needed hurricane response and put another 6,000 on standby. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 21st, 2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final installment in the widely popular Harry Potter series, was released, as excited fans all over the world eagerly flipped to the book's final pages to find out if Harry and Lord Voldemort finally
Author J.K. Rowling had already succeeded in creating one of the most popular literary franchises of all time. And of course, much of that success was owed to the expertly crafted sexual tension that steadily built up between the series' protagonist, schoolboy wizard Harry Potter, and the Dark Lord Voldemort. Everyone in the country wanted to know whether or not they would and if they did how many times would they and who would be who.
And that was what happened this week in history. In the words of Mother Teresa, if there is one lesson to learn from the past, it's that no matter what you do, there will always be a bunch more crippled dying kids.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free and join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Ian and Darryl, as it normally is on a Wednesday. And now, Captain Edge.
Ta-da!
I don't think he's a captain.
No? What does it take to actually become a captain?
Well, if best I can tell, is all you have to do is talk on the radio on a boat. If you're
really?
on a boat, everybody refers to you as captain.
But there's not like an official...
No, there's a legal definition of a captain. So there's something called a captain's license. So you've got to jump through some hoops, fill out some papers, take a test, and a bunch of other stuff.
I'm not sure that's entirely true, Darryl. Let me ask you this.
What if you take the T out and put an apostrophe in, then it's captain?
Captain? So is the person who captains their own boat that is not required by law to have a captain's license, are they a captain?
Technically, no.
Why not? Is the lowest, is just the six-pack license make somebody a captain, or do you have to have your 50-ton or your 100-ton? Exactly where does somebody become a captain?
Okay, so let me ask you the question. How big of a boat do you have to have before you become a captain? So if I get a canoe and I'm canoeing down the Ashwaylet River, am I captaining a boat?
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm canoeing down a damn river.
I'm with you that the term captain is thrown around so often that it has become useless, but that's it. There doesn't seem to be any operative definition.
I just did a Google search for boat captain and came across the Maritime Professional Training of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Well, of course they want to sell you training. I mean, obviously they want to make captain seem like it's this big deal, but maybe...
Well, they have on the thing, why get a captain's license? And
so you can be called captain is
so
not
that you
one of the reasons.
Work as a paid captain.
Yes, but a paid captain
so that
does
you
not
can use
that's a specification
your boat for
of
charter.
types of captain. That's like saying how to be a white quarterback. Well, not by not being a black one. That doesn't mean that they're not a quarterback. An unpaid captain is a captain also.
Also, if you wish to use your boat for charter, you are required by law to have a captain's license in Florida.
You're required by law to have a captain's license.
Legal definition of a captain.
A person that needs a captain's license to charter a boat is what there is a legal definition.
But we don't need to follow legal definitions. We got the regular dictionary, which says a captain is the commander of a merchant vessel. So wouldn't that mean that you'd have to be selling something?
Merchant is for hire.
Right. That you'd have to be either selling something
or... That's kind of the definition of merchant.
Moving freight.
Who's in charge of the recreational vessel?
Not a captain.
Okay. So something paid has to be on the boat. Is that correct?
Well,
yes.
What about a
something
cruise
that will be bought or sold in the future? So if I sell this computer that's in front of me that was on the boat and has been transported from one location to another, at some point in the future,
are you transporting it for the purpose of being sold? Otherwise, no.
I love that we're arguing over the definition of captain here. Welcome back, Mark. The toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. It wouldn't be Free Talk Live without... long drawn-out arguments about semantics and definitions.
Yeah, that's true.
So
now, did you know that Captain Crunch is not actually a captain?
He's a fictional character.
Right, he's a fictional character, but if you look at the number of stripes on his uniform,
what is
he does not have the actual number of stripes that a captain should have.
How many stripes does he have, and what rank does that make him?
I forget. But I just remember that it's not the number that a captain should have.
Maybe he's a captain, but all of his pictures were taken back when he was younger.
Well,
before he attained that rank.
When I think of how delicious crunch berries are, he'll always be a commandant to me.
They didn't originally come with crunch berries, though. That was something they added later on, I believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, you were out on a boat for when? When did you go out on that?
A couple of weeks,
journey?
I believe.
Seems like more than 2 weeks because it was
much
like
more than 2 weeks.
It was like a couple weeks before you said you were going to dock in North Carolina, and then it was at least a half a week before you actually decided to go down to South Carolina and dock there.
It wasn't 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, anyway, you're back. And
it was long enough that listeners were contacting me through Facebook saying, "Have you quit Free Talk Live?"
So I did find something on the Today Show
and
website.
as much as I hate you two, no, I haven't.
Did find something on the Today Show website about Captain Crunch, where he's got 3 stripes, which would make him a commander per Navy rank, but they say a lot of people on the internet have run to his defense, saying that anyone who leads a ship can technically be called a captain.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's the truth. Anybody who leads a ship can be called the captain. Now, I must say, I was not the captain on this voyage.
Oh.
So I had somebody...
So I'm still right. Mark's not a captain.
Not yet.
Nope. I did, however, row the dinghy at one point. So I guess that would have made me a captain then.
But you had problems with your dinghy.
I had a lot of problems with the dinghy. Apparently, during the ocean crossing, it was hooked up not correctly for an ocean crossing, and all the bouncing and jostling that went on knocked the floor out of the Zodiac, which was...
So it's called?
Well, this was a Zodiac brand boat. So
I didn't know if you had to name your dinghy. I know that they have names for boats sometimes.
I believe it's NH3515.
That's not very interesting.
Yeah. Well, something like that.
That sounds like the name that they give to these planets that they haven't yet named yet. It's the Kepler 457 in the Alpha Centauri region.
Well, the name of the big boat is the Sovereign Nation of Summer Breeze.
It would be so
That's
much
a long
funnier
name.
if you named it Jenny.
The Sovereign Nation of Jenny.
No, just Jenny.
Jenny.
But that was Forrest Gump's boat.
Jenny
right?
named his boat Jenny.
Well, my intention is whenever the Coast Guard comes on to greet them as visiting dignitaries.
Now, wait a minute. They came on?
There was an incident where the Coast Guard came on, but it wasn't because of
They weren't searching you for drugs?
No,
Smuggling
There also
humans?
were not sharks with lasers.
there were some rocks that weren't on our charts, and we connected with those rocks. It wasn't much damage, so anybody who's worried about the damage to the boat, it probably will cost low 4 figures, but not like 5 figures or anything like that.
Wow.
I can't say I'm delighted about it, but it's not enough for me to contact the insurance company.
Did you go through the Bermuda Triangle at all?
No, you didn't get that down.
Yeah, we would have. Isn't it?
That's down by Florida and Cuba, isn't it?
I thought it went
or the
through,
Bahamas.
I
or
thought it was
something?
attached
Bermuda
to,
is off the coast of North Carolina.
Yes, but
a couple hundred miles.
That's only one part of the Bermuda Triangle, gentlemen.
Oh, interesting.
Right, I'm just pointing out to Ian how far north
I don't know
Bermuda,
where the hell Bermuda is.
A triangle intersects 3 points, right?
Yes,
It's 3
I'm
lines
aware of what
intersecting
a triangle is.
3 points having
and a
three angles.
dodecahedron is a 12-sided object.
So
I remember reading some book about it when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. Looking at it here, apparently one of
last
the
I heard
points
about it.
is the United States, but it is not where I thought was North Carolina. So, no, I did not. It is a point in Florida going to BVI and
Yeah, so
Bermuda.
the upper portion of the triangle does start sort of east of the Carolinas, but the western point is mid-Florida.
Yeah, it looks like Plant City, Florida. Like maybe where they have the Florida.
All right, let's go to your
State
calls, your
Fair.
thoughts here. We've got Darryl in Texas. Then coming up, Bill Weld. It just keeps getting worse for the so-called Libertarian candidate for vice president this year. And even Mark's disappointed by this one. Darryl, you're on Free Talk Live, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was hearing your conversation. I couldn't help but calling because I was in the Navy for 20 years.
Okay.
And the way the Navy defines a captain is the captain is a rank, which is an 06, and that's 4 stripes. 3 solid stripes would be a commander. But the commanding officer of a ship, not a boat, a commanding officer of a ship, is considered the captain of the ship.
How do you define
And
the
the ship
difference
is defined
between a
as-
ship and a boat?
A ship can go underway for an extended period of time without with all the resources it needs on board.
Mm-hmm.
How
A boat can only
long
go
is an
out
extended
for a
period
very-
of time?
I will tell you, some the ballistic submarines will go underwater for like 3 months at a time.
That's true, but there are boats that cross, like for instance, recreational boats that regularly cross the Atlantic Ocean. They're underway for, in cases, weeks with all their provisioning.
Oh yeah, Well, I think it has. I mean, this is the way the Navy size it for their vessels.
It's the problem with definitions.
But I mean, technically, if it can go, and also it's also the size of the vessel, also how many crewmen. I mean, there's a lot. But technically, it's if you can go underway, a larger vessel can go underway.
Darryl, hold that thought. If you got more about shipping and captaining, it's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
You are what you eat? No, not true. You are what you can absorb, because not absorbing nutrition leads to nutritional deficiency and degenerative diseases. Medication does not fix nutritional deficiencies, and North American soil is now 85% nutritionally depleted. That means your body's not getting the vitamins it needs from just grown foods. Introducing Protovite, the world's first and only full-spectrum protosomal supplement. Protovite is a proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. That's rapid absorption. Then Protovite liquid continues to release sustained nutrition in the stomach, intestines, and colon over a prolonged period of time. See Protovite in action. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video today at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Or call 502-410-3411. 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Many libertarians would love to send Bill Weld out to sea and never come back, have him never return, because he just keeps getting worse every time he opens his mouth. We'll give you the latest on that situation here.
Would we put him on a boat or a ship?
Well, you actually were doing some research on that, and you determined an interesting distinction between a boat and a ship.
Right, and there are several factors that the Navy uses in determining whether something is a boat or a ship.
Why are they the experts?
Well, they're the ones that deal with boat things.
No, well, anyway, go ahead.
Or actually, the Naval Institute. But one thing that they say definitely is a factor, and a major factor in addition to size, is crew. If it has a permanent crew with a commanding officer, it is usually a ship.
All right.
If it is only crewed when actually in use, then you're probably dealing with a boat.
Got it.
So a boat's likely more used for pleasure, whereas a ship is more of a commercial, ongoing operation.
They also say that ships are usually intended and designed for deep water use and able to operate independently for long periods of time.
Got it.
But when in doubt, call it whatever the guy that's in charge of it wants it to be called.
We're going to get
call it the sovereign nation of summer breeze.
But is that a boat or a ship or
That's his boat.
A giant dinghy?
It is a sovereign nation. And you will give me the respect due to both the titular religious and political leader of a nation.
Yep, Mark's back. All right, so we're going to go back to your calls here. Also want to let you know about MyPillow. Did you bring your pillow along with you, Mark?
We brought it on the boat and back. And I've got to say, since we didn't have air conditioning, it's in
that's what I thought, yeah.
In South Carolina, it's really nice that I could wash the pillow.
Excellent. And that is one of the things you can do with MyPillow. You can get yours at mypillow.com. You can actually wash it in a washer and dryer, in fact, which I've never seen a pillow designed to do that. But
it's
this does
actually
that.
important to dry it in the dryer. That way, when you can shape it while it's still warm to perfectly fit your head and hold it exactly parallel to the bed.
I like to just kind of redo mine every night. But either way, you can use it how you want. MyPillow.com, you can get yours at half off or get two for the price of one by using code FTL. It's a great pillow, and you get to try it out basically risk-free. I mean, if you don't like it, you have to ship it back to them, but they're going to give you your money back. So there's a 60-day money-back guarantee on MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com, use code FTL. The pillow is also guaranteed to last 10 years, so keep that in mind as well. This thing, they are behind their product, and they should be because it's a great pillow. MyPillow.com, code FTL. Like Free Talk Live, let's go back to Darryl. He's in Texas. He was in the Navy, and he knows a thing or two about captains, boats, ships, that kind of thing. Was there more that you wanted to share, Darryl? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what my brother Darryl read was pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, I can't do any better than what he read. That's pretty much true because, like, when I was in Italy, there was the resident tender, which was shipped, and we had the small 60-foot boats, which were boats because they were only crewed when we used them.
I see.
And that's pretty much, yeah. And also, if I could do a different subject,
sure.
I don't know if you've heard, a completely different subject, heard about the Washington Redskins are fighting for their trademark, and they're partnering with a Asian rock band called the Slant, saying that they have a right to the trademark, even though people might be offended.
How is it that they're in trouble for their trademark? Is it that people have filed complaints against the trademark with the federal government, and so they might lose it because of that? I'm totally speculating.
They've
Do you know?
already lost it because for political correctness reasons.
But wait, does that mean the government pulled their trademark, or that the team management decided to?
I've got a story about this because they tried to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court rejected the appeal. Story comes from Yahoo Sports.
Darryl, thanks for your call, man. Appreciate it.
They said that you can now sell as much Washington Redskins paraphernalia as you want, and the football team can't do anything about it because they no longer have a trademark. So you can make up stuff that says Washington Redskins, and you can sell it, and nobody can do anything about it.
So they still are calling themselves the Washington Redskins.
They still have the team name, but they cannot enforce a trademark because they don't have that.
But why don't they?
Because the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office prohibits registration of marks that may disparage persons or bring them into contempt or disrepute.
Okay, so it was the government who pulled it then. So they had the trademark for a long time.
They had it for a long time, and then somebody filed a complaint. And
well, no, I don't know. Do you know that the complaint was filed? Because I think this was done by the patent trademark head, as I recall the story from some time ago.
My understanding, and again, this is just my understanding, is that the head of the patent office has to be prompted to make a decision.
All right.
So he can't just, wake up one morning and say, you know what? Apple doesn't own rectangles with rounded corners.
As we've seen, his wife or somebody else could send a complaint in, and then they could say, we've received a complaint. So then they go into action and do what they do.
Right.
Because we've seen that happen with governments where the couch situation with me like a decade ago, was a complaint brought to the city by another city employee who lives way down the street.
Correct.
So obviously they could do that if that's what they wanted to do. Interesting story though. So that's cool because now they actually have no intellectual property over that, and that'll mean that Washington Redskins T-shirts and things like that will become more affordable.
And one thing that's interesting here, in their appeal, the Redskins cited a list of ridiculously offensive trademarks, including dumb blonde beer, cracker-ass skateboards, white girl with a booty apparel, and oh my nappy hair shampoo.
Yep. And all of those should be allowed. I mean, ultimately, people should be able to call their business whatever it is that they want to. Of course, I don't believe in the idea of intellectual property in the first place, so I'm against the idea of trademark to begin with.
Right. And according to the story, it was a group of Native American activists that filed the complaint with the patent office.
I've got to say that I find the Washington Redskins name to be, not so. I don't like it at all. But I did.
Well, aren't you part Indian?
I don't like it because it promotes Washington. So I think they actually play in Maryland now, so they should be the Maryland Redskins, not the Washington.
I think you should call them the politicians, and then everybody can root against them.
Wait, it's the D.C. Redskins? I thought it was Washington State. See, that's what I know about.
No, Washington, D.C. The professional football team in Washington State is the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. Thanks for clearing that up for me. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Gamma Blast. You're in Illinois, and you're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
Oh, hey, all right, guys. I just listened to the Chris Matthews, Gary Johnson clip, and I'm sure you guys know the ones I'm talking about. But
which one was this? I'm sorry, I don't know.
The one where he's asking him to name his favorite world leader.
Oh, yeah. And he couldn't think of any. I actually think that's a good thing.
Yeah. And he's really pressing him. He's like, "Go say it. You got anybody? Just say something. You got the whole world to choose from." And every time I see Chris Matthews going off, I can't think of anything else but the Back to School movie with Sam Kinison.
Was he in that?
Anyone remember that?
Yep, the one with
he's yelling at
the no respect guy. Rodney Dangerfield.
Hold on, Gamba Blast. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, if Gary Johnson were actually a libertarian, he could have answered that very differently. We'll come back with that. It's Free Talk Live.
Non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, But now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Bill Weld, the former Massachusetts governor who was sadly nominated as the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, just continues to dig the party even deeper into a very difficult hole from which they will have to hopefully extract themselves someday. We'll tell you about the latest on this guy here in moments. And also want to let you know about the audio on demand listen line. It's available to you, and the voicemail is fixed, so you can now leave voicemail again. There was a slight issue for a few days where it was saying that our voicemail was full. So I believe that problem has been solved. You may dial 641-793-9660. Now, obviously, we'd prefer if you called into the show live to talk to us, but that's not possible for everybody. Some people work nights and just aren't able to listen live or call live. So you can always leave us a voicemail if you want. So the way you do that is you call 641-793-9660. Press 2 to listen to Free Talk Live at the main menu. And that'll play back, by the way, the latest episode of Free Talk Live around the clock. It's always there for you. And then while you're listening, anytime you want, you hit 0, and then the voicemail prompt comes up. It'll appear in our email boxes. It's that simple. 641-793-9660. And again, you can use it to listen to Free Talk Live as well as like almost a dozen shows from LRN.FM, plus the LRN.FM live feed. As we go back to Gamma Blast, listening in Illinois. Gamma Blast, you were calling about a Chris Matthews interview with Gary Johnson, who is the presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, who arguably is not as bad of a candidate as Bill Weld. He's not, in my opinion, libertarian enough, but nonetheless,
he's a darn, he's a darn small government Republican, though.
Well, the thing you were bringing up, though, was that he botched up a question, or supposedly botched up a question about who's your favorite world leader.
Actually, the question was, name a world leader that you admire.
That you admire. Okay, so kind of similar. But he did not name any because he claimed he couldn't think of any world leaders. Or was it that he claimed he couldn't think of any that he admired?
He claimed that he was having an Aleppo moment.
Which is a reference to another gaffe on a different interview.
Yes.
I think it was like a CNN town hall or something like that. But anyway, what I wanted to point out here was if Gary Johnson were a principled libertarian, his response could have been something like, well, you know what? They're all a bunch of thugs to me, and I don't have any respect for any of them because they're using violence against their people. They're using the threat of violence against their people, and I, as a libertarian, am against the aggression of the state. I'm against aggression in any form. He could have, used that as an excuse to talk about what libertarianism is,
right,
which is what a libertarian candidate is supposed to be doing. But instead, he was just stumped by the question.
And somebody had asked me the question on Twitter after Gary was unable to answer.
Of course, on Twitter, you get a few minutes to think about it.
Well, also on Twitter, you only have 140 characters in which you can use.
But a libertarian doesn't need minutes to think about
my
that question.
response was, just as I don't have a favorite form of cancer, I don't have a favorite world leader.
Right, and
then about an hour later, I then posted an update. Wait a second, Vít Jedlička from Liberland is my favorite because he's never collected a tax.
I like Clovis the First.
Who's that?
Well, when one of his men got out of line, they had dressed them down, had them all lined up and dressed them down and, actually cleaved the skull of his of the guy who got out of line. Just.
And you like him because of that?
Oh, well, I mean, it's decisive. He can make a decision.
All right.
Well, let he who passes judgment carry out the sentence. So
go ahead, Gamma Blast.
Clovis was that kind of leader.
That's there's our input on that.
Well, anyway,
situation.
I mean, you guys are focusing in on Gary Johnson, which of course he had the answer with that question. He just hauled and looked stupid, and the answer was pretty easy to give. But my main focus was I was laughing at Chris Matthews more because he sounded like the guy from the Back to the School movie, Sam Kinison.
I see.
And actually, I wanted to ask you guys if you got any technical skill, anybody on the Free Keene team, if you could juxtapose Chris Matthews asking that question, pressing him, and then jump right to Sam Kinison in the movie Back to the Future going, say it, and yelling at Rodney
let that happen.
Yeah, anybody with well, I mean, you could say that it was for fair use, basically.
Fair use, parody.
Like parody, and for political purposes or whatever. Gamma Blast, I'm sure both of us, Darryl and I, are capable of doing that video editing, but whether we would
go viral,
is another question. Thanks for the call tonight. I doubt anything regarding Gary Johnson is going to go viral. Sorry to say. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, there's no doubt that Johnson and Weld are getting press attention that did not seem to be delivered to previous libertarian presidential candidates.
Well, yeah, let's look at some of these polls. I mean, we're talking like 24% in Arizona. Wasn't that what?
Are you talking about only among young people or something like that? It's very unlikely that he would reach that high of a...
That there was a claim, and I've not actually seen the poll itself. I've just seen, people posting. There was a poll in, and I think it was Utah or New Mexico, claiming that Gary Johnson was polling at 24%, and he's over 30% when they only look at independents.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, that was something I saw.
I mean, because his typical polling is, 4 to 8% in most polls?
Most of the polls. He's been as high as he was 13 in a poll. He was
typical.
10 and 11 in a couple. There's also a claim that in the state-by-state polls, that he's in double digits in 42 states.
Right. Well, I mean, one thing that we have to look at is that there's states like New Mexico and Arizona where people grew up hearing Gary Johnson's name. I mean, you hear the governor's name in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Maine and Vermont when you live in close proximity. So there are young people and older people.
I couldn't tell you what the governor's name in Massachusetts is.
I remember if I had a minute to talk about it, but
your point is still taken.
These people, they've heard these names. They're comfortable with the idea of Gary Johnson being a governor, and I think that the expectation that he would do well out in the West is not unfounded.
Let's go to Parker. He is out west in Washington State, and you're on Free Talk Live via Skype. Hello, Parker.
Hey guys. So last night I watched the Magnificent Seven remake. And I would say that it is one of the most libertarian movies out right now, possibly for the year. I wouldn't say that it's the most because I haven't seen Snowden yet, and I think that Snowden might be more libertarian, but I will break down why I think that the Magnificent Seven is libertarian.
So can you just give a real quick summary of the plot of Magnificent Seven?
Yeah, this is different than when I saw the you typed that you'd seen the movie or you wanted to talk about it. For whatever reason, I was thinking of the Tarantino movie that came out earlier this year, but that's not what you're talking about.
That's The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight. Okay, yeah, close enough.
Which I also have not seen. So basically, the start of the movie is in 1879 in this place called Rose Creek, which I think is in California.
Okay.
Anyway, so this guy by the name of Bartholomew Bogues, he is this robber baron, and he has this mine that he controls, and subsequently he controls the rest of town via Blackstone Security Services, the sheriff, and as a result, he's basically forcing people off of their land. He basically told them at the beginning of the movie, look, I'm going to give you $20 for each parcel of land, and if you don't take the offer, God help you.
Yep,
that doesn't sound libertarian at all.
Sounds like eminent domain.
That sounds like what some people say that a libertarian society would be like.
I don't think he was saying that was the libertarian part. That's part of the plot.
He is the villain. Bogues is the villain, and rightfully so. Here's where it gets interesting. Now, bear in mind, the sheriff's office is by
I want to hear more, but I want to make sure you don't give us any spoilers. You're not going to do that, right?
There will be no spoilers.
Okay.
I'm only talking about the first 10 minutes.
All right, I want to hear about this. Hang on, because I love a good Western. I got to say, it's one of my preferred genres.
I like hearing spoilers. Then I get to decide if I want to see the movie or not.
All right, well, hold on. We got to be responsible here, Darryl. It's not responsible to spoil
In Titanic, the boat sinks.
855-450 free.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-1063. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-1063. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-1063. That's 1-800-945-1063.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson of the Genesis Communications Network. Over the 30-plus years I've been in finance, I can see that the world economy is now at a critical point. Unlimited money creation and runaway debt could trigger a collapse of the financial system. It's imperative that you protect yourself in case of hyperinflation or even deflation. Investment Rarities has put together a survival bag of 200 silver quarters. These 90% silver quarters are dated 1964 and earlier. Each quarter is worth almost $5. If a quarter has already reached $5, the trend is obviously on your side. These survival bags sell for $8.95 delivered. Call 800-328-1860 to order today. Not only can these quarters be used for barter in a brief period of hyperinflation, they have the potential to appreciate 5 to 10 times. Call 800-328-1860. Get one for each member of your family. Call 800-328-1860. That's 800-328-1860.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. So we're going to go back to your calls and thoughts here. And it's just definitely been a Western kind of week for me. I watched the Westworld premiere a few days ago and absolutely loved it. And now we've got Parker calling in about a movie I didn't even know. I'm so out of touch with a lot of the movies that come out. But apparently there was a remake of The Magnificent Seven, which I don't believe I've ever seen the original of that particular film. Have either of you ever seen The Magnificent
No, I've heard
Seven?
the name, but no, I don't think so.
Nope.
Apparently, it's been remade. It's actually in theaters now, and Parker is on the line saying I presume that you liked it because you
originally
called it
a 1960 movie.
Yeah, because originally you said this was in your opinion, the most libertarian movie you've seen this year.
I haven't seen Snowden yet, so yeah. So, like I said, Bogues, the guy who is forcing people off their land, is not the good guy. You don't want to root for him. He's not a libertarian.
Well, he sounds like what's he like some sort of corporate fat cat that's trying to develop a railroad or something? What was he doing?
No, he runs a mine.
Oh, a mine. That's what it was. Okay.
So here's the elements that are being worked within just the first 10 minutes. You have Bogues. He runs the mine. He has Blackstone Security, and he has the sheriff's office in his pocket. Now, what's interesting about that is that the sheriff's office or police in general are by their very nature a monopoly on the use of violence and the use of force. As such,
or at least cartel. For those that want to dispute that notion, there are different policing agencies that often work together, but they sort of respect each other's jurisdictions and powers, so that could probably be best defined as a cartel. Go ahead.
Well, we're arguing semantics at this point.
Agreed.
That's what libertarians do.
Well, that's what everybody does when they're losing an argument. So when somebody doesn't want to concede the point that a police force is by its nature a monopoly on violence, what they will do is point out that there are other sorts of police forces that rarely, if ever, pull jurisdiction on that particular force.
Okay. Let's get back to the topic at hand. So, you have all these different elements that are being controlled by the villain. And out of desperation, because they're only going to get like $20 for their land and pack up and leave, that or whatever the repercussions are if they don't sell their land, which I presume is death. So they and bear in mind, like, there's some people that get shot after this threat, this veiled threat is made. So I guess it's not that veiled at that point. But anyway, so a widow, Emma something, and another person go in search of some people that can come in and kick boats out, which is where you see Denzel Washington, the main protagonist, and then he starts to form a band of, I guess outlaws would be the correct term, since they're going to be fighting the sheriff.
Okay.
And
wow.
And we saw this in the theaters, is that right?
He saw this. I've not seen it.
Is it in the theaters
It's currently
right now?
in theaters right now.
I'm going to have to see it. One of my favorite actors is Denzel Washington.
Ooh,
I think it's
okay.
awesome.
All right.
So let me ask you this question real quick, Parker. On a scale of 1 to 5, how many stars?
Well, the movie review got 7.2, which is pretty accurate. I would say that it's
That's
slightly
7.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say that I think it would be more deserving of a 7.4 or 7.5.
Boy, that's pretty slice and
So
cheese.
that
might
would
have been.
be 3.7 out of 5, which is actually slightly below what Rotten Tomatoes shows the audience gives it. Rotten Tomatoes shows 3.9 from the audience, and a 6 out of 10 from the critics.
So, all right. So, you've set up the plot. Obviously, we don't need to know details. We don't need spoilers. So you've got the sheriff, the cops basically working with some corrupt industrial mine owner to steal land from people. Somebody else hires these badasses to come in and defend the landowners. What exactly was Libertarian to you about the movie?
Libertarian to me is that when you have a coercive entity such as the police and a independent security company working on behalf of what is basically a criminal enterprise that is oppressing people, and you have nowhere to turn to get justice, you are forced to seek justice from other people who will champion your cause and get you the justice not only that is rightfully yours, but that you deserve. And that seems libertarian to me. I don't know about you guys.
The marketplace will always seek what we have decided sort of collectively is justice, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and not only that, but had there in a voluntary society, this circumstance at the beginning of the movie would not be possible, because if you have 3 or more different peace departments that are competing against one another to provide the best possible services for their clients, then they do not want to have any bad reputation, nor would they have the desire to turn on their clients and try and oppress them.
Yeah, so what you're bringing up here is an interesting idea, and that is the idea of getting rid of the government monopoly on protection services. But one of the objections that people will frequently bring up is, well, what if one of the protection services just decides it wants to become the government and subjugate people?
Well, think about strikebreakers, too. Back when unions were new and law enforcement was almost non-existent, they had these groups of people called strikebreakers, and unions would attempt to enforce their monopoly by preventing people from going to work.
They still do that.
They use the law. But strikebreakers would come in and crack skulls. So there was
they still kind of do that.
The strikebreakers, hold on, were employed by who? The business?
Yep. But the unions were attempting to prevent people from going to work at those businesses, too. So you would have these essentially private armies warring with each other.
I see.
And they, that turns out however that turns out. That's their business for participating, as far as I'm concerned.
That's interesting. I did not know about that. I don't know all the details of the union history. So what you're saying there is, Mark, that maybe there would be some violence. My general argument would be against that because it tends to be, to turn to violence tends to be a very expensive solution. And, of course, it never really tends to last very long. Eventually, somebody will always come at you again.
If somebody turns to violence, then what can you do?
You defend yourself.
Right. So, somebody, when impassioned, people will turn to violence.
But generally, the interest of business is to, conserve costs.
What's the interest of labor?
To work and get paid?
For more. And if they need violence to get that done, they may very well do that. And the same with business. Business used violence in the past, too. We evolved from slavery, right? I mean, is that not a form of violence? So, I mean, there's violence is inherent. Violence, the idea of property is the idea of violence, if you want to use the term violence as sort of physical
Well, because
force.
you have to be willing to use force to defend your property.
Right. You either have, violence and property are closely associated. So, that's it's always going to be with us.
I still maintain
minimize it.
Right. I still maintain that the marketplace generally will minimize violence.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it is costly for both sides. It's costly for the business to bring violence on their employees or competitors, and it's costly for the employees to bring violence against the business. You don't want to destroy the shop in which you want to work, presumably, because then you're not going to be able to work there. And you don't want to, destroy your competitor because it makes you look bad, and further, they will defend themselves, which will result in war and tremendous cost.
Don't forget about the consumer who will also be harmed by violence. It harms the competitor, it harms it harms your own business, and it harms the consumer. Everyone loses when violence is initiated.
Well, another thing to point out is the communications and communications technology has also minimized violence, in human history. Now that we have videos where we can stream, for instance,
Cell 411.
People are much more likely to agree with you today rather than, say, 10 years ago that police violence was an issue. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to agree with you, but more people will agree with you.
Thanks for the recommendation on the movie. Appreciate it, Parker. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So Parker said he really liked The Magnificent Seven and thought it was the most libertarian movie he'd seen all year. It's apparently in theaters now. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is coming up. We'll talk Bill Weld. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $3 lower at $1,272 per ounce. Silver is down 4 cents at $17.91 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $612 US. Gold and silver look to rise after yesterday's losses. Still a great time to buy on the dip. Get started today and give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.93 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports continued fighting over the central Yemeni city of Taiz continues to take a toll on the civilian population, with medical officials reporting rocket strikes against the Bir al-Bashad district, hitting a group of civilians, killing 10 of them, including children. Details are still scant, though pro-Saudi officials are quick to blame the Shiite Houthis for the attack, noting that the district has been a target for them in the past. Pictures of slain civilians were widely circulated on social media. The city of Taiz has been the site of major fighting on both sides, with the pro-Saudi forces trying to gain control of the main highway between their de facto capital of Aden and the capital city of Sana'a. The city is divided, however, and the Houthis have made recent gains. Fighting in urban areas around Yemen have left massive numbers of civilians dead, with both sides repeatedly faulted for careless targeting. The United Nations has estimated that a strong majority of the civilians slain in the war so far have been the result of Saudi airstrikes, though the Houthis have been responsible for quite a few themselves. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Oklahoma Supreme Court unanimously struck down a bill passed by the state legislature restricting abortion in a ruling on Tuesday that the measure was unconstitutional. Senate Bill 642 was passed in 2015 but did not go into effect pending a court decision. It encompassed 4 abortion-related topics: parental consent for minors, tissue preservation, inspection of clinics, and legal liability of abortion providers. Justice Joseph Watt wrote for the 9-member court, "We find that each of the 4 sections of SB 642 lack a common purpose and are not germane, relative, and cognate. Although each section relates in some way to abortion, the broad sweep of each section does not cure the single subject defects in this bill. Although defendants urge that SB 642 does not constitute log rolling, we find the provisions are so unrelated that those voting on this bill were faced with a constitutionally prohibited all-or-nothing choice to ensure the passage of favorable legislation." The 9-member court ruled the legislation placed an undue burden on access to abortion under the guise of protecting the health of women. The law would have penalized violators, including a felony for someone who helped obtain an abortion without parental consent, and it would have required providers to preserve fetal tissue when an abortion was performed on someone under the age of 14. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley declared a state of emergency on Tuesday and ordered an evacuation of more than 1 million people in coastal areas starting Wednesday afternoon in anticipation of Hurricane Matthew. Florida and Georgia have also called states of emergency for a storm that pounded the Caribbean with 145-mile-per-hour winds and surging seas and was expected to start affecting U.S. coastal areas late Thursday or early Friday. Haley pleaded with people to get 100 miles away from the coast, but did not say if there would be penalties for those who refuse to comply. She told reporters, "We do not do voluntary or mandatory anymore. An evacuation is an evacuation." By declaring a state of emergency, Haley can mobilize 1,800 members of the National Guard. Highways will have all lanes directed away from the coast for the evacuation, and the state will close schools and county government offices in 26 of the state's 46 counties starting Wednesday. Hurricane Matthew is expected to be a Category 2 or 3 hurricane when it brushes or hits South Carolina on Friday night. night. Officials anticipate 100-mile-per-hour winds and 5 to 7-foot storm surges in coastal South Carolina. Florida Governor Rick Scott, who declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties of Florida on Monday, has activated 200 members of the Florida National Guard to support any needed hurricane response and put another 6,000 on standby. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following the announcement of First Communion, the Holy Spookerist, the first hardcore pornographic movie to be filmed in Vatican City since 1982's classic adult feature Pope Fisters 4, Onion reporter spoke to Herschel Savage, director of the film.
It's a huge honor for me and everyone else involved with this film. This is where they shot Pope Fisters 4. I mean, that movie's a masterpiece. Well, when we wrote up the script, we sent it over to the Vatican to get the Pope's approval and see if he had any notes, but he loved it just the way it was.
The highly anticipated pornographic film, which stars Ron Jeremy as the horny sea himself, Pope Benedict the 69th, will reportedly contain graphic sex scenes filmed in the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Square, and the Pope-mobile, among various other notable sites within the Vatican.
Well, actually, I'm just watching a cut of this amazing scene we shot last night where Pope Benedict is gangbanging a bunch of nuns in his bed, and it was great because the Pope let us use his bedroom. Tomorrow we're shooting the scene where two nuns fuck each other on St. Peter's tomb using strap-on crucifixes. I think people are really going to like this movie.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that you want. And with you in studio tonight, I'm Ian.
And I'm Mark.
And I'm Darryl.
And, of course, you can join us via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. As we continue here, we're actually going to get into what we talked about doing earlier in the show, which is to discuss the latest ridiculousness involving the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate, Bill Weld. And I knew this guy was going to be bad news the moment I found out he was a governor of Massachusetts for a couple of terms, apparently, I guess during the 90s or 80s and 90s or something like that. And that was really all I needed to know about him. But then he proceeded to open his mouth even more, and he's actually getting more attention because he is a former governor than I would say any other Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate combined.
Yeah, I'd say that's the case.
Normally, Libertarian Party vice presidential candidates, you can't even name them typically.
Judge Gray was the last go-around.
And they very, very rarely appear in any kind of public forum or interview.
Wayne Root, after the election in 2008.
Wasn't really a libertarian either, but anyway.
Right, but after the election in 2008, he wound up somehow getting a lot of media attention because, you know, like he used his I'm a millionaire connections to wind up getting on Fox. And now Root is
a Republican.
Not only is he a Republican, he's stumping for Trump.
Well, guess what? Bill Weld may be rejoining the Republican Party as well, which I'm fine with that. You know, please stay out of the Libertarian Party, but unfortunately the damage by Bill Weld has already been done. Now, there's a series of stories that came out within the last, I would say, 24 to 36 hours about Bill Weld. What caught my attention earlier today was the headline over at the New York Magazine that says Libertarian VP candidate Bill Weld will focus on preventing Trump presidency. It's actually a pretty biased article that is obviously sensationalistic in the way it's written, and it cites the Boston Globe story where the Globe actually interviewed Weld. So I'm going to go to the Boston Globe on this one. But suffice it to say, the New York Magazine article is basically trying to make it sound like Weld has given up on the race entirely and is
Which one would
behind
wonder
Hillary Clinton.
Why he would be motivated to do that. I mean, you don't give up on the 10-yard line.
Well, he appears to be helping his buddy, Hillary Clinton. We played audio. I believe we played the audio of it. At the very least, we talked about it when he was interviewed on the very first CNN town hall. I think they've been on 2 now.
Yes.
Which, again, unusual for any libertarian to be in a situation like that.
Right, and that's what I think that many people in the party were sort of counting on is that Johnson and Weld together are going to get news, and they have. Much more than libertarians generally have.
But unfortunately, they're not promoting a truly libertarian message, which has always been my complaint And ultimately, Johnson's even worse, or excuse me, Weld is even worse than Johnson.
Well, Johnson's worse than he was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. So Weld does
I think that I'd like to just a quick point here is that 4 years ago Johnson was getting less attention. I think that he sees an opportunity in history where he could actually be a factor in this election.
4 years ago, when Gary Johnson announced that he was running for president, he did not tell 3 different media outlets that he wanted to ban the burqa.
Indeed. I think that he sees...
He didn't tell people, I will force a baker to bake and sell a cake.
I think he was kind of pushed on that one, but I agree with you. He sounded more libertarian 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to finish my statement, which is that generally when people run for the office of president, first they secure their base in the primary, and then they turn towards the middle. You'll note that Trump does not sound as hard line as he did during the primary. Clinton is trying to incorporate some of Sanders' stuff, but she's really playing on her strengths that are going to bring in women. That's a pretty big segment of the population, right? 51% or something. She's trying to play to the middle. They all play to the middle.
But have Trump and Clinton, and more specifically their hardcore supporters, told other people within the party to essentially piss off?
I don't know. I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Clinton has told the Bernie supporters whether to suck it up and vote for me because that's your choice.
So Bill Weld,
Trump's done the same.
Bill Weld has basically been in Hillary Clinton's pocket this entire time. Some of the information in this story from the Globe is just continuing what Weld has always said. And it was a couple months ago now when that CNN town hall happened, and Bill Weld basically couldn't say anything bad about Hillary Clinton. Now, it's one thing to play the I'm not going to attack my opponent nice guy card, but this card that he was playing was, I love Hillary Clinton. She's my friend. We were buddies.
Right, and neither Weld nor Johnson had nice things to say about Trump.
That's true. He has attacked Trump on multiple occasions.
But during that town hall where they said nice things about Hillary, they did not say nice things about Trump. So you can't pull the card of, I didn't want to talk bad about my opponents.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so in defense of that, again, I don't like being put in the position of defending people that I don't entirely agree with. But one must point out that this is the best strategy for securing both, Republicans and Democrats.
So talk bad about Donald Trump and good about Hillary?
Yes. Here's the reason. Please allow me to defend this. Okay, so in the case of Trump, you're dealing with a larger segment that's going to be the male population, that's going to be the never Trump people. Those are the ones you're trying to pull in. He's got those. The two-time Republican governor of New Mexico is going to get as many of those as he can possibly get with the right amount of exposure. Now, when it comes to the Clinton voters, the Democrats out there, the Sanders people, he's trying to secure them. How do you get them? Do you get them by attacking a old, sick woman? Or do you get them by saying that, look, I agree with you on some issues and, well, don't forget that she kind of cheated you. I think that's the best tactic.
Hillary's almost as hated as Donald Trump, so I don't see how you gain voters by talking positive about one of the two most hated political candidates in American history.
It's so it's a tactic. And you may or may not agree with the tactic, but I think it's the best tactic.
It makes it seem like he's in her pocket. And
I
think it's interesting what you've said, Mark, because I've never heard that argued before. And you make a point, but also you do as well, Darryl. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Bob in Oregon. We'll talk more about Bill Weld and what he said to the Boston Globe just recently. That's pretty outrageous. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. Bob?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
I wasn't calling about the Boston Globe. I think there was a breakdown of communication. I'm actually calling because I'm really...
You can call about anything you want.
I was calling about Googles. I'm extremely upset about Googles and Skype, and I wanted to get your opinion if you think Google is a problem and if you think Google needs to be removed.
Okay, first of all...
How do you remove Google?
Wait, hold on. Google does not own Skype. That's a Microsoft product. Just to be clear, Microsoft obviously is compromised just like Google is, but I just want to make sure we're clear here. So you're talking about Google specifically, not Microsoft in this call, correct?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely calling about Google foremost and primarily, but I also think that Skype is a problem also.
Now, what is the problem that you have with Google? Because it's a big company. They do a lot of stuff. So what is it specifically that you don't like?
Well, I feel like they're aggressive, and treat people unfairly, and that, frankly, they're extremely racist.
Okay.
How is it that
I'm going to need to
Google-
hear about how they treat people like anything. And
Yeah, you
how-
can't even get somebody on the phone. So
Right. I mean, I don't feel like I've ever been treated by Google other than ignored. How do you feel like Google's treating you like anything? And then we'll go on to the racist claim.
Well, I've noticed that, like, whenever somebody gets shot, like a police officer, shoots somebody, then the Googles get all upset, and then they start
the
riot.
Googles get
And
all
then-
upset?
And riot?
Yeah.
You're going to need to be more
Yeah.
specific.
And then the Skype Run Media steps in, and they start hyping the Google riot.
Skype
and
doesn't
then
run any media.
This is just a strange... Is this 4chan? Is 4chan calling our show right
I
now?
think this is the weirdest crank call we have ever
good,
gotten.
though. I kinda
I'm
feel
sorry,
like
but
I'll
I'll
take it.
Hey, I don't know if he's got more, but I'm going to let him roll with this here.
let him finish his
855
joke.
450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
You are what you eat? No, not true. You are what you can absorb, because not absorbing nutrition leads to nutritional deficiency and degenerative diseases. Medication does not fix nutritional deficiencies, and North American soil is now 85% nutritionally depleted. That means your body is not getting the vitamins it needs from just grown foods. Introducing Protovite, the world's first and only full-spectrum protosomal supplement. Protovite is a proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. That's rapid absorption. Then Protovite liquid continues to release sustained nutrition in the stomach, intestines, and colon over a prolonged period of time. See Protovite in action. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video today at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Or call 502-410-3411. 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, if you've got Bitcoin, we want you to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jax, and you can get it for free, and it's cross-platform, which means you can have Jax on multiple devices. You can have it on your smartphone, iOS, Android. Also, you can get it on your desktop or laptop computer via Windows, Macintosh, Linux. There's even browser plugins for Chrome and Firefox. It's a great wallet, and it's free, of course. Go to jaxx.io to download it, or your favorite app store. That's jax.io. It allows you to hold Bitcoin, Ether, as well as Dash, and more currencies are coming. It was created by Anthony Diorio. He's one of the founders of Ethereum. It's super easy to back up your wallet with Jax and recover your funds. So if you lose your phone, as long as you've got your backup, you're good to go. And Jax is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jax, the official wallet of Free Talk Live at jaxx.io. Bob is on the line in Oregon. You called with a bizarre yet funny call, Bob, and I wanted to hang on to you here because we've actually had a number of younger male callers over the last few days of the show. So basically the average age of our caller has gone down, I would say, a good jump downwards because of that. And I just wanted to find out, are you guys all kind of hanging out in the same chat room or forum? Because there have been every now and then over the years, some very young callers will call in, and they're usually coming from a specific place where they're like coordinating calls. And in the past, we've been able to figure out what it is. I'm just wondering if you're willing to give up that information, because generally, I think your calls have been pretty decent.
I assure you that I am not part of any internet chat group. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that is where, like, I listen to your podcast regularly. I discovered it recently, and I've enjoyed it. And so, like, I thought I would give you a call on this subject. I do, but yeah, I'm not part of any chat group, and I don't even get on internet forums. I use the internet for basic stuff. But
okay,
like I said, I was really just
is 4chan either a chat group or a forum?
It's kind of a forum.
Okay.
I don't use 4chan either. I'm honestly kind of afraid to get on there.
It's a scary place.
It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, I don't get on there because I'm afraid I'll get like pwned or like somebody will like stick a virus on my computer. I think this terminology actually did originate at 4chan. I will tell you that.
You're talking about like the Skype and the Google that you were talking about earlier. Google Skype controlled media.
Correct, sir. Yeah, because like I can give you a hint. Like a Google cop shot a Google that had a gun. And then the Google started a riot and started beating up white people. And then the Skype-run media kind of went a little crazy with it.
Gotcha. So you're using Google in probably exchange for certain, let's say, types of people. Thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you, Bob. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I kind of picked up on that.
I didn't.
The first time through there. But thanks for sharing. Let's continue here. We've got Ricky. He's on the line via Skype, and you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Ian,
hey,
good evening.
Hey there.
Oh, he's on hold there. Sometimes Skype can be a little tough, you know?
Well,
they run everything.
It's that Skype-run media.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I love it. Well, you know what? First of all, if I may, Darryl, I wanted to first give an apology, if it's okay.
For what?
For what? Because I'm going to get into that. Because the last time I spoke to Darryl, that night, somebody called in and said something pretty damn upsetting that I can tell you this right now that kind of pissed me off. And I'll tell you this, I think it pissed Darryl off too. But you know what? That's okay because
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't remember it. That's one of the wonderful things about having a bad short-term memory is if I do get upset about something, I forget it the next day.
I envy you, brother, but I haven't. That being said,
but what was it about? You're going to have to recap because I don't remember.
I could definitely do that. It'll be a pleasure, brother.
Do it quickly.
See, well, yeah. See, and I have a great idea. See, somebody called in and actually thinks that he has the right to actually talk to me and my name because last I looked, I shot somebody in the abdomen. And the problem is this guy doesn't understand this. See, here's a quick point. Because Hamilton got shot in the abdomen, it took him a whole day to die. And when he did, he died without honor. And that's a lot better than if he would have lived without honor. So I had a great idea, and he gave me one because he issued a challenge to me because he insulted me. So you see, there's a topic he seems to be really interested in and knowledgeable about.
Is there going to be an apology to Darryl coming out here? I'm
Are you talking about Ralph still? Are you still obsessing over him?
I'm talking about the comment that he made that was upsetting. I think everybody that heard that comment.
I think it's getting old. I mean, the rivalry was cute for a little while, and now I think it's kind of tired.
But give me a second just to hear me out, Ian, before you cut me off on it. Give me a shot because I got to defend this because I was challenged by this guy. Now, when it comes down,
you challenged.
Yeah, you started it for sure.
But
go ahead.
I'm going to finish it too.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like this. The topic that seems to be very much of interest to him seems to be slavery. Now, I can promise you this.
No, I would say the topic that's interesting to Ralph is Donald Trump and Obama.
Oh,
well, that's too bad. That's too bad. This time he picked the topic. It's called slavery because he seems to know so much about it because he Googled it. I happen to know something about it too, and just
because you Googled it too.
Yeah, well, that's fine. See, because here's how the challenge goes.
Google war.
Well, here's how it goes this time.
Or you binged it. You wouldn't Google it. You'd Bing it, wouldn't you? Because you're a Microsoft man.
Hey, actually, use it. If you use an iPhone, you're binging it too. That being said. Well,
Ian rarely bings anything.
Are you saying that the iPhone is actually using Bing, and that's like a deal that Apple has with Microsoft?
He uses that as their search engine, amongst other things.
How about that?
But anyways,
where's the apology?
Well, no. Here's what it comes down to. I already apologized for Ralph to Darryl. No, here's the challenge. You see, the topic being slavery. The topic being slavery, and this guy seems to know all about it. And what's going to happen is maybe we can just put it out there because he won't call in because this time, here's why he won't call in. I'm going to make it very clear because the topic is slavery. Got to stick to the topic. He can talk about it any way he wants. I'll talk about the way that I need to. And what it comes down to is this time, when this happens, I'm not going to be alone. Oh, no.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Huh?
Yes, this time.
You're going to have your mom on the phone?
No, I'm going to have, this time, I'm going to have the Declaration of Independence in my right hand. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to have the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania over my chest. And I'll tell you another thing.
Are you loading a gun? Are you going to kill yourself on live radio?
No, I think he's slapping himself with the Constitution. He has a copy of the Constitution.
Oh, it sounded like he just shoved a magazine and a handgun.
You just slapped the Constitution on your bare chest, right?
Right, and also
I'm going to have a human chest.
Thanks for the call, Ricky. Good luck with whatever war you're trying to start there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's something that you did miss while you were out, Mark. You didn't miss much. It was
Mark wasn't here, but I don't think he missed it.
This is a good point. The so-called feud or shootout or whatever between Ricky and Ralph. It appears that Ralph, or Ricky, isn't quite done yet.
Whoever lost their cool is the one who lost.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I'd say that Ralph's got Ricky's jimmies rustled here. It's Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA, go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com. Click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting. That's AGORIST hosting.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, what is Bill Weld up to, the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate who is just botching his job left and right? Of course, his job is to botch up the Libertarian Party, it appears, and so I guess he's doing a good job of that. We'll tell you what the latest is here in moments. With you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
Healthcare's all messed up in the United States. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health and not sickness. Now, sure, health insurance pays for treating sickness, but gives you nothing for being healthy. Now, doesn't that incentivize illness instead of health? Well, there's a free market healthcare company that can give you freedom from health insurance. It's healthexcellenceselect.com. They give you a proactive health assessment daily and a no-charge 24-hour access to doctors. HIPAA has messed up medical records so much that one doctor doesn't know what the others are doing. How about a medical information card to give to EMS, first responders, the emergency room, or whatever medical professional you want? Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and the price. healthexcellenceselect.com.
I actually had them do a little work for me. I needed to get some x-rays done.
On your dinghy?
No. And on my back. And they searched the places that do x-rays in New Hampshire in my general vicinity and surrounding vicinities and came up with the place that had the lowest price and was well rated in whatever their community is, the x-ray community. And they sent me that information. And actually, that had been the place that I had done sort of research on my own and found out was the place that I would have preferred to have gone because of price and recommendations. So, interestingly, they corroborated my research there, and I was very happy.
Excellent. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. Let's go to Ralph in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Ralph.
I have the chance, the opportunity of a lifetime. I would always stress over meeting a white South African here in southern New Jersey. It was a chance encounter, and we have a heart-to-heart talk. And the like of me would not resist the temptation of bringing up the issue of race, okay? Comparing what's going on in South Africa, and he's well aware about the situation with race in this country. Okay, This man didn't come across as a racist kind of individual, a conservative. Yeah, he come across like that, and I asked him point blank, what is it like living in a black majority nation? He told me it's pure hell. Okay? This is like the equivalent of the movie The Planet of the Apes.
Oh, God.
His words not mine.
I don't believe it. It's so offensive. I'm saying you said he didn't sound like a racist when he said it was the equivalent of living the Planet of the Apes?
Well, he has the right to express his
He certainly does.
That's what he said. Just to be clear, that's what he said, not what you said?
No, not what I said. No. And then I point out to him.
He said he was the one who said the statement about Planet of the Apes, or was that you, Ralph? I just want to be clear.
No, he was hell on earth, and akin to the Planet of the Apes.
He said
that was your interpretation of what he said, or are those the exact words that he said to you?
Or something along that line. I would say.
So you are paraphrasing him. You're not actually giving us the exact quote of what he said. You're tainting what he said with your opinion.
That's fine.
And did he explain why he thought it was something along the lines of hell on earth? Could it be that the tyrannical government of South Africa enforces, or at least at one time enforced, segregation?
That was then. This is a different South Africa now, right?
Apparently, when it's like hell on earth,
more like
Planet of the Apes.
But when did this guy leave South Africa? Did he leave last week? Did he leave 30 years ago?
We don't honestly. There are many South Africa in our country. Okay.
Sure, we know.
Yes, I know some people from South Africa, and they left 30 some odd years ago. So the South Africa that they were raised in is not the same South Africa that exists right now.
That's true.
I'm not talking about that, sir. I'm talking about places.
You're the one that brought up South Africa.
Places like they are like mini South Africa, basically. Places like Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Places like at a drop of a dime, you have,
So you are a racist. I mean, look, you've denied it over and over again here, but yet you keep.
Stop this white guilty.
That's all you got, man.
I mean,
you just got name calling. You're the one who keeps calling in about your opinions about black people.
You know better than this, than a chip shot upon me. Come, please stop this.
What do you see? Are you saying you're not a racist? You just said it was Planet of the Apes.
It's I mean, what? How else can you interpret
you can interpret that humans are individuals and they don't deserve to be judged based on the groups that they're in. Thank you for the call tonight, Ralph. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I don't think that any whites in South Africa are enslaved like humans were in Planet of the Apes. They're free to leave, unlike humans were in Planet of the Apes.
Well, as free as anyone else in any other country to leave with government permission. But.
Yeah, I'm just I'm trying to think of ways that one could reasonably call some place like Planet of the Apes without it just being like referring to black people as apes.
That's pretty clear. That's what he was doing.
Well, I'm trying to look at the bright side here, and I don't see one.
Let's continue here. Well, there's no bright side when it comes to Bill Weld thus far. He's been an absolutely terrible Libertarian vice president.
Bright
you
side
said
is,
he got some press.
The bright side is the election will be over soon.
Right, but Mark, to say that Bill Weld got some press, again, it's not necessarily a bad thing for Bill Weld because it's promoting Bill Weld, but it is arguably a bad thing for the Libertarian movement, given that he's actually not a Libertarian. Now, you can argue that, well, some people will find Bill Weld and then they'll Google Libertarian and then they might actually figure out what Libertarian is. So there may still be yet somebody who will come to us, 3 years down the road and say, hey, I found you guys after, finding the Johnson-Weld campaign and looking up Libertarian. So I don't doubt that that's going to happen. But I would much rather have people finding a Libertarian presidential and vice presidential candidate that is actually Libertarian, that actually embraces the term, unlike Gary Johnson, who even on his website rejects openly the idea of having a principle, of holding a principle dear.
I think that there's further value in the Johnson-Weld ticket in that it is likely that what do you use the term, Darryl, minor party is going to get more attention this year than any other year, and that Johnson and Weld are more palatable to the average voter since they have been governors. I think there's that value.
So you're saying that Johnson and Weld are getting more media attention than Ross Perot did in 1992?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so then they're not getting more media attention than any other minor party presidential candidate.
Even if they were, it would only be valuable to Johnson and Weld to build their careers after their,
well, what if they could break through this whole third party thing and then...
Well, there are some states, like the one that we live in, to where it matters not the vote percentage that a presidential candidate gets. It only matters what the gubernatorial or Senate candidate get as far as determining ballot access. So the whole claim of we need to have this watered-down presidential candidate for ballot access doesn't even fly when you start looking at ballot access laws in the various states.
Yeah, I think that it would have to be a real change, and I think the idea is that they could create an emotional change among people saying, hey, look, we could be delivered another great option. And that might be the idea that people, who voted for Johnson and Weld in the Libertarian Convention had, among other ideas.
But ultimately, one of the key differences between you, Mark, and Darryl and I when it comes to looking at Libertarian presidential candidates and deciding whether we like them or not, or if they're valuable or not, is you seem to have some value to the idea of promoting a party no matter what the cost.
No matter what the cost, no.
And Darryl and I say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Darryl, so please let me know if you disagree with this, but that it's the principle that matters.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if the principle doesn't get promoted as far as the unprincipled candidates. Whatever level of promotion the principle gets is where we should be focusing our efforts.
Well, no, we have a different difference of opinion.
855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
College roommates continue their bonding process until real friends are made, and a teacher hopes they never Google him. It's time for the weekly video feature that's heartier and more comforting than a heaping bowl of mom's butternut squash soup. This is the Onion Week in Review. Longtime James F. Blaine Elementary School teacher Suzanne Pomponio told reporters today that she could not believe how much fatter her second graders are getting. Pomponio estimates that each and every one of her kids must be 8 to 10 pounds heavier than anyone in her 2011 class, adding, quote, "and those kids were pretty fat too."
Honestly, I didn't think it was possible that this year's kids could be fatter than last year's, but they are. I mean, short kids are fat, tall kids are fat, and there's a smell. I don't really know how to describe it.
Local dad Michael Carrain navigated several discount travel websites today with a precision reminiscent of 18th century Viennese prodigy Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart composing a symphony.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and we invite you to join us here on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. If you want to help support Free Talk Live, then you can do that by becoming a Free Talk Live amplifier for just $5 a month. You can go to amp.freetalklive.com, and that is where you can sign up for the AMP program. It actually, you can do it via any major credit card through PayPal. You can use Visa or MasterCard right there on our website, and you can also amp the show with Bitcoin. So if you've been waiting on Bitcoin, it's back, and it's easier to use than ever. We have cut out the middleman. Well, basically, because Coinbase cut out all my accounts and said they didn't want to do business with us anymore. So we got rid of them. Anyway, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com and get signed up there. You can learn more about the AMP program. What is it that we spend that $5 on when we combine it together with other people's money? And we'll tell you about all of that. You can get all the details, get signed up. Again, amp.freetalklive.com. That's ampamp.freetalklive.com. We sure do appreciate it, and you'll get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, call-in lines, and podcast.
So in the last segment, you ended it up by extolling the virtues of you and Darryl and how you like principled candidates, and me.
And you'll sell out for the benefit of the party of which you're not even a member.
I am a namby-pamby, Vichy French collaborator, right? And I'd like to paint this in a different light, if I might. So Ron Paul wasn't
small government or no government on every issue every time. He accepted, for his district, pork barrel kickbacks.
He voted against those things.
But he put them in. He would both put in the earmarks and then vote against the earmarks when he knew that everybody else was going to vote for them.
So what you're talking about, there's the discretionary spending budget, which is a portion of what Congress sends to the president. So there's the non-discretionary, meaning Congress does not get to manipulate those numbers at all.
Right. So
and then there's
Social Security, Medicare, excuse me.
Right, and a few other things. And then there's the discretionary, to where Congress gets to say, use this money on this thing. And if Congress does not apportion that money or appropriate that money, then it's up to basically the president to decide if or how that money gets spent. So it makes sense for Congress to say, use this money on this. Then you don't have the president, using the money on the president's pet projects.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. I know you're not done, but you can hold on anyway. We got Hung Like Jesus. He's on the line, and your calls and thoughts here. Go ahead, Hung.
Hey, Ian and Mark, glad to hear from you again.
Thanks, man. It's good to hear from you.
And you too, Darryl. I'm kind of ashamed of myself for always letting that dude bait me the way he does, but he did. I have a friend that lives in San Diego, and she tells me that it's they have a huge Filipino population there. Mm-hmm. And she also tells me that attitude that dude from New Jersey that he has, he said that's commonplace for Filipinos.
Is that so? I wouldn't know.
The racism, are you saying, is commonplace among Filipinos?
Yeah, they just have some sort of a thing about black people that they just cannot seem to get over.
Are there black people in the Philippines?
No. She lives in San Diego.
No. I'm asking if there are black people in the Philippines. Usually, if somebody's going to develop a bias, they're going to develop a bias with a culture that they're familiar with. This isn't always true, but it's not uncommon.
It's also not uncommon for people to be biased against people from a group that they have never met.
That's true.
That's the thing.
I don't know anything about those people, so they must all be the devil.
And that's what I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is. To me, it sounds like some black man who was hung like Jesus stole Ralph's woman. That's the only thing I can assume. But anyway, that aside,
Zing.
Ralph, the country that Ralph comes from, has an absolute psychopath running it.
Yeah.
Now, if he focused a fraction of his attention on that, trying to get that thing inside everyone's head, he would have zero time to focus on black people.
Yeah, you're talking about Rodrigo Duterte, and I believe, did you have a story about him tonight, Darryl?
I did,
Duterte?
yes.
This guy was called the Trump of the Philippines, and he, I think, has lived up to that name.
Oh, I think he's gone that, yeah.
And he's widely, he was elected president, so he's widely liked in that country. And, of course, the man you're talking about, our caller, Ralph, is a Trump supporter. So I imagine he'd be pretty friendly with Duterte as well. But what was your headline? I'm just curious, Darryl. We don't have to get deep into it.
The headline was, Duterte tells Obama, go to hell, we'll buy weapons from China and Russia.
Yeah, he certainly could.
So there you go. Hung, anything else?
Like I said, and like I said, I listen to Free Talk Live, and I expect to hear Ralph. I listen to Free Talk Live every night.
Thanks, man.
Religiously is what I do. And I know Ralph's going to come, and he's going to come with some ignorance, and it always baits me. Some nights I can get past it without, but this South African thing, I just can't, that just really touched the nerve of me. Ralph, you've never been to South Africa. You listen to some clown. If that story's even true.
Right.
If that story's even true, which I kind of doubt.
So I think that Ralph versus Hung Like Jesus would be a much more interesting duel.
I would beat Ralph alive.
Dual call.
I'm looking right here. I just when I made a call, I just Googled this, and it says the title of this article is Filipino Stereotypes. I could just run off the first few and it would just be buried. But I won't do that because I'm not going to stoop to Ralph's level. I don't know any Filipinos. That's why I don't talk about any Filipinos. I'm sure Ralph doesn't know any black people. I don't understand what he talks about. Like I said,
I'm sure he's seen black people. He lives in New Jersey, but besides that, he probably doesn't know any. I would guess you're probably right about that.
I'm just thinking someone stole his woman. A black man stole his woman.
All right, Hung. Great call, man. Always appreciate hearing from you. Thanks for the response tonight. I appreciate that. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I'm looking for demographics in the Philippines.
I've found them on Wikipedia. Several ethnicities that I have never heard of before. Visayan, Tagalog, which is one I have heard of because that's also the name of one of the languages. Ilocano, Bicolano, Moro, Kampanangan, Ingro, Pangasinis, Chinese.
I want to apologize to all the Filipinos listening to this show.
Guinyo.
Yeah, I don't see.
And then other.
Yeah, I don't see black on the list. I don't know if some of those people are blacker than others, or how that works. We'll have to ask Ralph next time he calls in. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Where does it come from?
The reason
Where
we
does
haven't
this
asked up
hatred
to this
come
point
from?
is because who cares? Who cares what the ethnicity is of the people who populate the island of
it's a bunch of
Philippines?
islands.
Well, it is an interesting question of where does the
hatred
hatred come from? If it's true that Filipinos are more likely to be hateful towards blacks, then where does that come from?
If it's true. Yes, I don't know.
If it's true. But I've heard that before, too.
I have heard it also.
Wasn't the first time I'd heard that was tonight. All right, so Mark, let's get back into what you were saying. You wanted to differentiate how you're looking at the the unlibertarian presidential candidates of Gary Johnson and Bill Weld in the Libertarian Party this year versus how Darryl and I, see it. You wanted to correct or clarify.
Well, yeah, I think that there's a way to characterize this that is more accurate than Ian and Darryl are the principled paladins of truth and justice.
I didn't say anything about
Mark
truth.
is the evil compromiser. Okay, no, you didn't say it. But you might as well have. Now, let me go on.
Well, the truth is the Libertarian Party is supposed to be the party of principle, but people like Gary Johnson and
you
Bill
didn't
Weld,
have. It's not like you particularly liked Rand Paul either.
He's not a libertarian.
When he was running for president and he was the small government choice on the Republican side, it's not like you were saying, "Oh yeah, let's choose him," because at least he's sticking by Republican principles. You'd say
I'm not a
he's
Republican.
not a libertarian.
I don't advocate for that.
Fine, I got you, brother. And
Okay.
you're not. You're a Democrat.
That's right. I'm
and
a
you don't
registered
advocate for
Democrat.
them either. So let's not. Party gets a little confusing here. Let's talk about principle.
Right.
The principle
I'm the
that
only
concerns
one
you.
on the radio in the studio tonight that is an actual member of the Libertarian Party nationally. I'm also a member of the state party, as is Ian.
That's correct. And you're not a member of either.
I signed up for the Libertarian Party one time when they had free membership, and I thought that was.
But then that lapsed.
I don't know. I mean,
No,
what do I know about their free membership?
if you signed up for a free membership and you never rescinded that, then technically it's still valid.
Can we check that?
But you've never updated your address with them, so they still think you live in Florida.
And they have the old email address.
Ah, okay. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
My characterization next.
All right, we'll get into that here in moments. And you can join us. Take control of the airwaves. Plus, we still have to talk about what Bill Weld said in his interview with the Boston Globe that sort of brought this whole conversation on. Coming up in hour 3.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.93 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports continued fighting over the central Yemeni city of Taiz continues to take a toll on the civilian population, with medical officials reporting rocket strikes against the Bir al-Bashad district hitting a group of civilians, killing 10 of them, including children. Details are still scant, though pro-Saudi officials are quick to blame the Shiite Houthis for the attack, noting that the district has been a target for them in the past. Pictures of slain civilians were widely circulated on social media. The city of Taiz has been the site of major fighting on both sides, with the pro-Saudi forces trying to gain control of the main highway between their de facto capital of Aden and the capital city of Sana'a. The city is divided, however, and the Houthis have made recent gains. Fighting in urban areas around Yemen have left massive numbers of civilians dead, with both sides repeatedly faulted for careless targeting. The United Nations has estimated that a strong majority of the civilians slain in the war so far have been the result of Saudi airstrikes, though the Houthis have been responsible for quite a few themselves. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Oklahoma Supreme Court unanimously struck down a bill passed by the state legislature restricting abortion in a ruling on Tuesday that the measure was unconstitutional. Senate Bill 642 was passed in 2015 but did not go into effect pending a court decision. It encompassed 4 abortion-related topics: parental consent for minors, tissue preservation, inspection of clinics, and legal liability of abortion providers. Justice Joseph Watt wrote for the 9-member court, "We find that each of the 4 sections of SB 642 lack a common purpose and are not germane, relative, and cognate. Although each section relates in some way to abortion, the broad sweep of each section does not cure the single subject defects in this bill. Although defendants urge that SB 642 does not constitute log rolling, we find the provisions are so unrelated that those voting on this bill were faced with a constitutionally prohibited all-or-nothing choice to ensure the passage of favorable legislation. The 9-member court ruled the legislation placed an undue burden on access to abortion under the guise of protecting the health of women. The law would have penalized violators, including a felony for someone who helped obtain an abortion without parental consent, and it would have required providers to preserve fetal tissue when an abortion was performed on someone under the age of 14. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley declared a state of emergency on Tuesday and ordered an evacuation of more than 1 million people in coastal areas starting Wednesday afternoon in anticipation of Hurricane Matthew. Florida and Georgia have also called states of emergency for a storm that pounded the Caribbean with 145-mile-per-hour winds and surging seas and was expected to start affecting U.S. coastal areas late Thursday or early Friday. Haley pleaded with people to get 100 miles away from the coast, but did not say if there would be penalties for those who refuse to comply. She told reporters, "We do not do voluntary or mandatory anymore. An evacuation is an evacuation." By declaring a state of emergency, Haley can mobilize 1,800 members of the National Guard. Highways will have all lanes directed away from the coast for the evacuation, and the state will close schools and county government offices in 26 of the state's 46 counties starting Wednesday. Hurricane Matthew is expected to be a Category 2 or 3 hurricane when it brushes or hits South Carolina on Friday night. Officials anticipate 100-mile-per-hour winds and 5 to 7-foot storm surges in coastal South Carolina. Florida Governor Rick Scott, who declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties of Florida on Monday, has activated 200 members of the Florida National Guard to support any needed hurricane response and put another 6,000 on standby. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Do you sometimes feel that healthy eating can be a lot of work with very little reward? Well, no need to worry any longer. Here are the Onion's tips for healthy eating. First, identify your weaknesses, and then condition yourself to avoid problem foods by associating them with deceased relatives, unrequited loves, and traumatic events. Remember, alcohol is a source of empty calories, so be sure to keep your drinking under control. Unless you're really stressed out. Like if something happens at work, or if your cat gets hit by a car. If you find yourself suddenly craving a fatty food, let yourself enjoy the best of both worlds. Tape a slice of ham to your tongue and slowly absorb the taste throughout the day without swallowing. Stay motivated by paying yourself $1 every day until you meet your weight loss goals. At the end of 10 years' time, spend that cash on a cosmetic operation of your choice. There, now you're ready to begin your new healthy lifestyle.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you can join us here and take control of these airwaves. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. We had just barely scratched the surface of the story we've been teasing with all night about Bill Weld, who is the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate, much to the chagrin of the actual Libertarians in the Libertarian Party, those stalwart few that remain. He is botching it up once again on the campaign trail, being very unlibertarian, in fact, almost embracing Hillary. We talked about that recently, but we'll give you the latest on this guy here in moments. But first, Mark, you wanted to clarify something about your personality or your beliefs or something like that.
Well, you had suggested now it's been more than a segment as we have gone on this subject, that somehow that you and Darryl are these paladins of truth, justice, and the libertarian way.
No, we advocate for principle over party because principle is what libertarians are supposed to be about, especially the people who've joined the party and have signed a statement that is a statement of principle saying they don't support or advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. And you are someone who represents people who believe that the party should be this big tent thing and welcome people like Bill Weld in, even though they are not principled and arguably are doing damage to the message of liberty. That's how I see it. Now, what were you going to say?
Well, I certainly never advocated for Weld. I don't know that much about him. Gary Johnson was the one for whom I advocated, and I certainly was rooting for Darryl early on. But
that's true.
Barring Darryl's nomination, Gary Johnson I thought was a pretty good choice. And I still think he's a pretty good choice because he was a very small government governor. He's the only person running who has executive experience and, a variety of other reasons that I advocated for in the past. But I think that what's more accurate is that the people you've advocated for in the past are people who talk about the ideas of liberty as opposed to people who talk about the ideas of smaller government and the benefits of getting the state out of people's business on a smaller level. Let's reduce as opposed to let's eliminate. Now, Ron Paul spoke regularly about let's eliminate, and you were a big fan of the Ron Paul campaign.
That's right.
He is
I would
by
call
no
that
means,
man a libertarian.
He is by no means, a no government guy. He said that we needed to enforce border laws until we got, got the welfare state under control. He advocated for earmarks, or at least he put in.
You're really stretching here. What are you trying? What are you trying to? What's the point you're trying to make?
All I'm saying is that you have a tolerance level for statists that is.
You calling Ron Paul a statist now?
By what means would one enforce a border?
Ron Paul actually advocated for voluntarism during his campaign. All right?
He used the terminology.
Yeah.
I'm for voluntary relationships, is what he said.
Right. So
can you find anybody who won't say that?
I can forgive Ron Paul a little bit of pandering, which is what you're talking about. But that doesn't, you're not denying what I've accused you of, which is being this sort of big tent guy who's willing to accept unprincipled candidates with the hopes that it'll garner more media attention and more people joining the party or whatever. And you don't have the same values that Darryl and I do. We see the value in staying true to the libertarian message of non-aggression so people can hear it, they can understand it, and then hopefully embrace it. If you want to go and advocate for smaller government, that's great. You can join some smaller government party and do that. But the problem is people like you have come into the Libertarian Party and have watered down that principle, and we haven't had a principled Libertarian candidate in more than a decade.
And also, unlike other political parties, the Libertarian Party has a statement of principles at the beginning of their platform. The first phrase in that statement of principles: "We, the members of the Libertarian Party, challenge the cult of the omnipotent state and defend the rights of the individual." Second statement: "We hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose."
That's the Libertarian Party I remember.
Tell me how forcing people to do various things is libertarian.
I don't understand what you mean. So
Gary Johnson.
Tell me how Ron Paul advocating for the state in areas like immigration is libertarian. So
I never
all
said
I'm
that
saying
it was.
is that your tolerance level. Did you advocate for Ron Paul?
In 2007, I did not do anything for his campaign. In 2012, because in 2010 he decided that the Republican Party was more important to him than the principles of liberty, and he endorsed the author of SOPA.
Okay, so you did in 2008 and you didn't in 2010, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so all I'm saying is tolerance levels are different between Darryl, Ian, and Mark. And all you're trying
Ron
to do is...
Paul also was not the Libertarian Party nominee.
I understand. I'm not talking about party here.
But he was more
We're talking about the Libertarian Party nominees. And
I
you keep
mentioned
bringing
Rand
Ron
Paul and Ron Paul, who are neither Libertarian Party nominees. We're talking about principle, the principles of libertarianism, and you guys are throwing chaff up so you don't have to discuss.
We're talking about the Libertarian Party being the party
Ian,
of principle.
He's not talking about principles. He's talking about
Yes,
a
he
party.
is. He's talking about the principles that the party should adhere to.
Listen to the full sentence. The full sentence. There's an entirety to the sentence. The Libertarian Party is supposed to be the party of principle. I'm talking about the principles that party is supposed to uphold.
Excellent. Then why are you bringing that up in a conversation about Rand Paul, Ron Paul,
What are you? That
Gary
was
Johnson?
not the beginning of the conversation.
Yes, it was.
No, you brought that into this later on. We're not talking about those people.
The show's been on for 14, 15 years, Ian. I know what you've talked about. I'm trying to bring this together
We're talking
and point
about
out
the show.
that you think
that you have this all nailed down and you're just wrong. Okay,
I think I understand the principle.
You've got a tolerance level for statism that is lower in your politicians than my tolerance level for statism.
Tonight,
that does not mean that I am not a libertarian, and it does not mean that other people who have a lower tolerance for libertarianism.
I didn't say you weren't a libertarian. I said people like you are ruining the Libertarian Party by coming in with your watered down garbage.
I'm not part of the Libertarian Party other than I signed up for a
I didn't say you came in. I said people like you. They're the ones who've come in and brought their unprincipled ways into the party. They're the ones who came in mass numbers and got Gary Johnson and Bill Weld elected again for the nomination this time around, and then they left. They didn't even stay the entire weekend. A bunch of Republican operatives came in there and infiltrated the party, and they're the ones who are responsible for this.
So anybody who's going to get elected to a position of political power is going to have to make some compromises. Everybody who has in New Hampshire has had to look at how do we move from a world of statism to a world of freedom.
So now you're excusing your belief system. And
no, I'm not trying to excuse my. I haven't even finished my statement. How can you characterize my statement until I finished it?
The way compromise works, Mark. Please. The way compromise works is when you go to buy a new car, you don't go in and offer what you think they'll accept. You go in and you offer a lot less than you think they'll accept, and then you work your way towards what you think they'll accept, or maybe a little better. So
That's not how compromise always works. Well, sometimes people will take your first offer if your first offer is reasonable.
Right. There's not even a point to this. You go in to buy a new car, you don't say, I'll give you sticker price or 500 below, because you know they'll accept that. You go in and you say, I'll give you 2,000.
When I went into buy a new car, Darryl, I looked up what people were paying for it. I decided on a price that I thought was reasonable. I called the salesperson. I said, call me back when you have an approval for this number. That wasn't me picking a lower number than coming to the middle. That was me giving them a number that I would not move on, and they called me back and they gave me my number.
What is the point of talking about compromise within getting elected? Libertarians mostly don't get elected, but if they did get elected, yes, they would have to compromise in order to move the ball in their direction. We're talking about the Libertarian Party, which is supposed to be the party of principle, uncompromised. Getting the message of freedom out there uncompromised, so people can understand and analyze and think about it and hopefully accept it.
I'm not talking about the Libertarian
Party. Not this watered down. Well, that's what we had started by talking about, right? We were talking about Bill Weld and Gary Johnson, and now you've changed the, moving the goalposts, or whatever the hell you call that. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-719-2949. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-719-2949. That's 1-800-719-2949. 1-800-719-2949.
The Morgan Silver Dollar. Minted from 1878 through 1904 and again in 1921. 90% pure silver. Many agree it's the most beautiful silver coin ever struck. C&S Rare Coins has a huge reserve of these brilliant, uncirculated historical coins and is about to release them to the public for a limited time. Produced at mints located in Philadelphia, New Orleans, Carson City, and San Francisco, this is your chance to obtain a piece of American history. With the price of silver on the rise, shouldn't precious silver be a part of your portfolio? It's the perfect hedge against inflation at below market prices. C&S is proud to release these Morgan Silver Dollars at only $39.95 per coin. So call toll-free 866-95-COINS. There's a 10-coin limit. Call 866-952-6467. And for the first 100 callers, shipping is free. So call now, 866-95-COINS.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $3 lower at $1,272 per ounce. Silver is down 4 cents at $17.91 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $612 US. Gold and silver look to rise after yesterday's losses. Still a great time to buy on the dip. Get started today and give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free. Join us here, the principled advocates for liberty, and then there's King Mark over there, or Captain Mark, or whatever it is we're calling you now.
I'm fine with all this.
All right, so toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but we're going to have to get back to your calls and thoughts. We really haven't even gotten into what Bill Weld has actually said in his most recent interview, this one with the Boston Globe, it was actually enough for you to be upset, Mark, so I think that's, let's bring that back in here. You were kind of pretty behind the Johnson-Weld campaign, not enthusiastic about Weld, but pretty enthusiastic about Johnson. The Libertarian vice presidential and presidential candidates, but you're pretty sick of this Weld guy after this recent interview. So we'll get into that here if we get the chance, but of course your calls and thoughts come first. Also, I do want to let you know about SaveItPurse.com. Lots of our listeners have been using SaveItPurse.com, and it's great because you save big time on your purchases at Amazon. You can save 10, 15, 20% pretty easily on almost anything that you want to order, as long as Amazon provides the fulfillment for it, which is pretty much most of their website. Then you'll be able to get it at tremendous discounts. And the catch is you're spending your Bitcoin. So you do need to have Bitcoin in order to make this happen. But this alone, this purse, SaveItPurse.com alone, in my opinion, is worth investigating Bitcoin and getting some Bitcoin because you can save big time. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now, and I've saved well over $1,300 in 60-something transactions.
And if you don't want to wait for somebody to wind up picking up your order when you select that 10, 15, 20% or more, you can do the instant buy and save 5%.
That's right.
And I did that this afternoon.
Incredible.
I got a new XLR to USB cable for my mic.
So you needed it fast, I presume. That's why you did the instant buy?
I wanted to get it sooner rather than later, right, just to see if that would fix some of the audio problem I've had.
Yep, I had the printer ink on for a while, toner stuff for the HP printer that we have in here in the studio. It was the first time I've ever bought the actual official brand name, and of course I'm not willing to pay full price for those things because they're ridiculous. But I got somebody to bite. I didn't get a bite at 25%, but I got a bite at 20%. But something's funky going on with this transaction because it hasn't shown up, and it's been like 10 days since it happened. So I've sent a message asking what's going on. Every now and then something weird will happen. But Purse customer service has always been fantastic about dealing with stuff like that. I actually had there's 4.
They also take care of returns in some cases too.
Right.
So.
And sometimes they'll just eat cost on something that has gone a little weird. So I've got 4 V for Vendetta masks in the studio here. And I ordered those, and somebody bought them for me, and they shipped them to me. But then somehow after the fact, after they'd already shipped them, it got canceled, and they all showed up after the thing got canceled. And so I sent a message to Pursing, I got all of these things. I think this person needs to get paid, and they're like, "We'll take care of it. Enjoy your masks." So basically, I didn't have to pay for the masks. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, go to saveitpurse.com to get started there as we go to your calls and thoughts. Gene, the Christian anarchist, is on the line in Mississippi. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Gene.
Hello, guys.
Hey there.
Pulling over the side of the road here because I'm driving back from Florida.
All right.
And I called up to give you a spanking, Ian.
Oh, no. All right.
Yep. You're being nasty.
What?
Really, Ian? Uncooperative,
being nasty,
antisocial.
I'm not the one ruining the Libertarian Party's message.
No,
that's nasty to me.
Listen to what I. I'm the Christian anarchist. All right,
Yeah.
I've been calling you for 10 years, and I think I have a little bit of claim to where you stand today. Because when I first started calling you, you were in a party. It was the Libertarian Party, but you didn't call yourself an anarchist, and you were an atheist.
And I don't call myself an anarchist today. I'm not an anarchist. I'm a voluntarist.
Well, no, you're voluntarist, which is another term for anarchist.
I don't know about that. I think anarchist has kind of a violent connotation for a lot of people.
Two terms for this. Am I violent? Am I violent?
No, I just say I didn't say you were violent. I said it has a violent connotation to a lot of people. But further, an anarchist is someone who's against rulers, and I'm in favor of self-rule. So, and I also like to describe myself.
A lot of people who don't understand what an anarchist is, yes, they think that's
right. And I also like to describe myself in favor of what I like, in favor of what I am standing for, rather than what it is that I'm against. So, go ahead though.
That's fine.
Spank away.
But at any rate. You have a tolerance level of pretty close to 0 of anybody who disagrees with you. And that is not the right attitude to have. And you'll find out that Ron Paul believed in coalitions, even with people he had disagreements with.
Well, that just shows you don't really know much about me. I mean, I go to the State House, and I talk regularly with people with whom I disagree on some things. We had Joe LaChance, for instance, on the show here. He's a state representative, a former police officer. We don't agree on everything, but we'll work together on the things that we do agree on, and we do agree on a lot of things.
He voted for Medicare expansion, for crying out loud, but he's really good on the drug war.
I'm actually one of the few people who is friendly within the Liberty Movement here in New Hampshire. A lot of them have turned this guy on the outs. They won't talk to him. They're rude to him.
Because of that one vote.
Right. And I'm one of the people who actually has been talking with him and is friendly towards him, because I realize there's benefits in building those coalitions that you're talking about.
So maybe then you're only this way with Mark. I don't know. But at any rate,
hold on. No, I'd be this way with anybody who threatens the principles of the Libertarians.
Right. So building building coalitions is good when you're working with other groups of people, but when you have people trying to infiltrate a group and change what that group stands for, then that's where the stop, go back to that other group and stay over there. I'm willing to work with Mark on things where I agree with Mark, but I do not want Mark coming into the Libertarian Party and trying to do what Wayne Root said in 2008 and 2010 and, quote unquote, make the Libertarian Party more conservative.
Right.
Okay, first of all, I'm not calling in favor of the Libertarian Party or Johnson or any of that, because I don't support any of those guys, and I really don't care about the Libertarian Party so much. I mean, it's okay. I don't have anything against the Libertarian Party, but I'm not here as a Libertarian Party supporter in any way, shape, or form. I don't mind it, but I'm not calling to say that you guys are wrong about the Libertarian Party and Mark is right about the Libertarian Party. What I'm calling to say is that, Ian, you are wrong in the way you treat people who disagree with you.
No, I
That's
only
what
treat
I'm
Mark
calling
like this. Like I said, you don't know anything about how I treat people who disagree with me.
He's listened to the show
Okay.
plenty, and he knows how you've dealt with people on the air that you've disagreed with. That's an incorrect
not
statement,
just
Ian.
Mark.
There's a difference between how you do a radio show, which is about entertaining people, and then how you handle
Ian
real
thinks
life.
being a jerk and getting crazy people to call in is entertaining.
People call in
because
they're crazy.
I
'cause
do
that's
agree
what they
that
do.
being a jerk is entertaining at times. It's if you're trying to be entertaining.
Sir,
by
being a jerk means coming into the Libertarian Party and watering it down. That's what being a
No.
jerk is. I'm just calling
I'm
them
not
out.
even calling.
Thanks for the call tonight,
not even
Gene. I
calling about
appreciate it. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, if I were a jerk to everybody, then nobody would want to talk to me. And obviously, you don't get to where I am in life by being a jerk to everybody.
Not everybody.
But there's a difference between how you run a radio show and how you do real life politics and trying to change things. It's Free Talk Live.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Diabetes is at war with your circulatory system. Fight back with Cardivite. Cardivite is a dietary supplement containing powerful herbs for circulation and healthy cardiac function. Improve your energy, stamina, and mental acuity. Reduce swelling, cold hands, and risk of amputation. Get your blood flowing with Cardivite. This 5-star rated product was developed by a diabetic pharmacist and is available online at www.getbloodflowing.com. That's www.getbloodflowing.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's Antiwar.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us here. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian, Mark, and Darryl in the studio tonight. Also, I do want to let you know about the Shire Society. If you've heard about the movement of libertarians, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists that are migrating to New Hampshire, well, the Shire Society is part of that. It is one of the active migrations of people that are coming here to not only make a better life for themselves, because New Hampshire is already the freest state of all the 50, but to help work towards more freedom. And the fact is, we need thousands more people. We need thousands more libertarians and like-minded folks to make the move up here so we can actually achieve some semblance of liberty in our lifetime, because numbers are the most important factor. Go to shiresociety.com. Sign the Shire Society Declaration there. It's a personal declaration of independence. Whether you're going to move or not, you should sign the Shire Society Declaration, but obviously read it first. And then start planning your move and come to anywhere in New Hampshire, and you're probably going to find more libertarians than anywhere you've ever been in your life, maybe combined. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here, and then more about Bill Weld, the absolutely awful Libertarian vice presidential candidate. Zernan is calling from Louisiana. Zernan, you're on Free Talk Live. Zernan? It's an unusual name.
I think that having more of a moderate opinion on libertarian issues may be more appealing to more people, versus, even though it's not, principled per se. I kind of look at it like Mike Huckabee and the crazy Christians with the Republicans. That really appeals to the far right, but obviously that isn't enough to appeal to the Republican Party. Now, I'm not saying that you should give up your principles. I'm just saying that Free Talk Live is arguably the largest libertarian talk show in America, I would say.
Yeah,
and
I would say
you
that's
all have an opportunity to
beyond arguable.
Exactly. And I feel like you all could draw far more radio stations than the 170 or 180 that you all are at if you all just didn't take such a hard line on libertarian issues. And
so let me ask you this one, and I'm just asking you as a consultant here. I generally don't take these hard lines. I mean, I do sometimes, but generally I don't.
You're far more libertarian than many of these libertarians that are compromising the party.
Yeah, absolutely, and the people on the radio that call themselves libertarians too.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't. So I attempt to make sort of a big tent argument on a regular basis, as Ian has pointed out here. That doesn't seem to matter to callers and listeners. It's always that there's somebody on the show with whom they disagree. But when you have a wrestling match on TV, there's a good guy and there's a bad guy, and everybody wants to watch because the good guy or the bad guy gets pwned, right? Usually in arguments, people agree with the person, believe the person with whom they agree is the one who won. So oftentimes they will think that I won the argument.
That's
I
called
made
a confirmation bias.
It is confirmation bias. It's absolutely
and
a very
there
human
have
thing.
been studies that prove that confirmation bias exists.
Why doesn't it work with Free Talk Live? Why don't people say, yay, my team won, I love Free Talk Live?
They do. There are people who love Mark. There are people who love Darryl.
They may love their team, but they blame, oftentimes, if they're going to withdraw from Free Talk Live, they'll either pull their AMP support or say, I'm never going to listen again, or whatever it is that they do.
It's pretty rare that
They
happens.
cite the person with whom they disagree. So they'll say, that Mark
a lot of times
is a
the reason
douche.
people pull AMP support is because they run on hard times.
No,
It's very rare that
I
somebody
disagree.
It's very rare. Look, I'm the one who does the customer service for AMP, okay?
I didn't mean to say disagree. I don't disagree. That's absolutely true. The vast majority are people who...
Very rare.
But when they do so publicly and loudly.
Right. Okay, it has happened a few
There's
times.
the vocal minority, the very vocal minority.
And I run the Facebook page where people comment all the time. I'd still listen to Free Talk Live
If it weren't for
if it wasn't for Ian or Mark or Darryl, for
Go
God's
find
sake.
another show to
it's
listen to.
always somebody who's said something with which they disagree.
And rather than call in about it, they'd rather take their ball and go home, and that's fine. There's other shows out there. We got a bunch of them on LRN.FM.
We still have the largest cumulative audience of any libertarian program out there in the world.
I mean, I wish there were other competitors with whom we, could also, have a similar level or even be better than we are. I mean, I'd always thought that if we ever kind of sparked some sort of interest in libertarianism, that we'd see more talk show hosts going in this direction because it would be popular, but that hasn't really happened as of yet. Although some hosts like Glenn Beck are sort of sliding slowly towards...
Dennis Miller came on the air as a libertarian since we've been on the air.
But he's never really been a libertarian.
Glenn Beck
He's a warmonger.
has claimed to be a libertarian since we've been on the air.
For the last dozen years, he's claimed to be libertarian at heart, and then advocates for all this non-libertarian
I'm not
stuff.
claiming that. Look, Darryl, I understand how you define the term libertarian. I'm simply saying that they say that they are.
But Zernan, one of the things that you're saying here, though, is something Mark had said a long time ago, is that you thought, Mark, I remember this is probably like more than a decade ago, you said, well, that you could have probably made more money in talk radio if you'd just been a conservative or something like that. But the problem there is then you're not really being true to yourself. Then you're, playing a character or something like that.
Well, I feel like you all are playing a character with this hard line that you all have.
Nope, I really am
He's just that much of a jerk, Zernan.
Nope, I'm really a libertarian. I really believe in the non-aggression principle.
I believe you, but I also believe that you are appealing to a more hardline audience where guns and and stocking up on everything, because that's your audience. I mean, that's who listens to GCN. Let's be honest.
We don't. Well, actually, the Genesis Communications Network is just the network that carries us. Their listenership of their internet streams is a fraction of the number of listeners that are tuned into us on actual radio stations. So the majority of our listening audience.
If you're looking for a survivalist audience, there's probably shows that are more efficient for that.
There's the Survival Podcast, which is a great survival show with Jack Spirko, who is actually a supporter of this show. But no, we're not a survivalist show. We're not a conspiracy show like a lot of the stuff.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you all could appeal to far more radio stations and far more listeners if you all took, and this is crazy, but, kind of instead of just shelving Gary Johnson and shelving all of the candidates that you all disagree with, maybe having more people or more hosts that are more
we should just not have any principles and say
pander.
whatever is popular.
No, what he's saying,
lick our finger, hold it up, see which way the winds blow,
like
and
a
then
politician
go that way.
would.
No, what he's saying is, hey, gentlemen, instead of turning it up to 10, why don't we turn it up to 8? That's what he's saying.
Look, brother, I don't care about the numbers. All I care about is getting a message of liberty out to individuals out there, and we accomplish that every single night here on Free Talk Live. If you want to try to, bring a different message to the table, you're welcome to call in, and I'm glad that you've done that here tonight. Anything else you want to share,
Zernan? This is what sales meetings sound like, by the way.
Well, let me tell you this. One last thing. Mark, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're back because all of the other hosts seem to just kiss Ian's butt, and
That's
it's
not
so
true.
nice to have that contrasting opinion. And I appreciate
Thanks for the call tonight, Zernan. I appreciate it. It's not true at all. Melanie on Monday night is a kind of a violence towards the cops girl. I mean, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she's kind of angry at the police. Johnson and I frequently disagree on things. We've got different viewpoints on religion, for instance. Darryl, you and I, we get into it on some stuff, usually piddly crap, but whatever. And then let's see, Thursday nights, actually, I don't know enough about Chris Reitman to really say. I love the guy, but I don't have enough on-air experience.
Right, because you're not on with it. It's me and Chris.
And then Friday nights, it's actually mostly been you and I. And then Vincent, we've been disagreeing with Vincent on his Donald Trump thing.
He's a Trumpite.
He's a Trump guy, yeah. So got to disagree with you there, but thanks for the call. Sarah is on the line listening in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Mark, and Darryl. Hello, Sarah.
Oh, yeah, well, I just want to say that after all this, Donald Trump did not pay taxes since 1977.
Right on, man. That is something to be proud of, don't you think?
He hasn't paid any taxes since 1977. Is that? That's not the news story.
I heard the news story was 1998 when he claimed $1 billion loss, and the way losses go on certain things, you're able to carry a portion of that forward. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that Donald Trump's hypocritical, where he says that when other people don't pay taxes, that's bad, but when he does it, all of a sudden it's good. So he's a hypocrite.
Of course he is. We'll bring Sarah
nobody
back, though.
should pay any federal taxes.
I agree. But I want to hear what Sarah has to say about it, so we're going to bring her back. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105. You're fired. Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. and you can take control in these remaining moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still on the fence about moving to New Hampshire? If you're a liberty-minded person, well, check out the 101 Reasons Why Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great documentary film. Only take you an hour to watch it. 101reasonsfilm.com. And it's actually pretty easy to pick it up and put it down. So if you just want to get 15 minutes while you're eating lunch, watch 15 minutes of it, because you'll go through a bunch of reasons in 15 minutes and then come back and watch some more later. It's free, so you can watch it anytime you want. 101reasonsfilm.com. As we go back to Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you were calling in about, what was it, Trump?
Yeah, and him not paying taxes since the mid-'70s.
My question is, I think to myself, there's a billionaire like Trump who pays no taxes. Do you think he'd be concerned about me giving me a 250-minute free phone like Obama? At least the Clintons.
Yeah, you might have to buy your own damn phone.
Hold on. So those are two completely different things. So one person not paying something, so one person avoiding having money stolen from them, is not akin to taking money from someone else.
Well, no, he thinks that means that she was calling about the Obama phone the other night. That's what she's referring to. So she's talking about her welfare phone, and she's worried that Donald Trump, given that he's not interested in paying into the system, that translates into no more welfare phone for Sarah.
Even though George Bush is the one that created the system of giving out the phones. It's a Republican program, so I don't think...
How come Obama got the credit for it? Just because it was implemented when Obama took office or something?
I don't know.
Well, the Republicans kept it a big secret. They actually was done by the Reagan. He wanted them available for their supporters only. So Obama, forced the phone companies to make everybody know that it was available for everybody.
I mean, they had cell phones in the 1980s, but I don't think there was a welfare program for it.
There was a landline program.
Oh, that's what she's confusing.
That was available in the 80s.
Gotcha.
There was not a cell phone program available in
Reagan line. Let me ask you this. I think that this cuts to the quick on this question. There are giant buildings all across the country that have the name Trump on them. One would assume that Donald Trump is responsible for the creation of those buildings because they have his name on them. Hillary Clinton went from, her quote is, being broke when they left the White House and apparently having to return some of the china that somehow ended up in her bags.
It's been a hard road of $100,000 speaking fees for her husband.
And now they've got are claimed to have $200 million, but she's never had a job where she creates anything. She's always sort of worked within the public sector or at the very least for the legal system. Does it not bother you that a politician might not know what it is like for productive Americans to try to make a living?
Well, you know what? All I know is that Donald Trump kept this a big secret. He's got more secrets than Clinton does.
Really?
Okay.
How do you quantify more secrets?
Yeah, how do you know how many secrets someone has? Careful, Sarah, your bias is showing.
It's a big old bias, too.
You know what? He accuses of Clinton being a secretive with her emails. I mean, look at this mess. He's been holding...
it's none of anybody's business how many taxes Donald Trump pays. It is people's business what the Secretary of State does with her email service.
Sarah, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate it. We haven't even had a chance to really talk about Bill Weld the entire show. So here's the story from the Boston Globe. Bill Weld, the Libertarian, let me put quotes around that, vice presidential candidate, said Tuesday, that's yesterday, that he plans to focus exclusively on blasting Donald Trump over the next several weeks, a strategic pivot aimed at denying Trump the White House and giving himself a key role in helping to rebuild the GOP. Weld's comments in a Globe interview mark a major shift in his mission since he pledged at the Libertarian convention in May that he would remain a Libertarian for life. Did he really do that?
He did say that he was a lifetime libertarian, and which basically means that he had cut a check for $1,500 a week and a half prior. and that he was a libertarian for life.
And he would do all he could to help elect his running mate, Gary Johnson, the former Republican governor of New Mexico. But things have changed, and the election isn't even over yet, and this guy is already getting caught in lies. Johnson has committed several high-profile gaffes in recent weeks, says the Globe, that reveal apparent weak spots in his foreign policy knowledge. Meanwhile, Trump had seemed to be surging back into contention after he fell well behind in the polls in early August. While Weld insisted he still supports Johnson, he said he's now interested primarily in blocking Trump from winning the presidency. And
how is he going to do that as anything but a supporter of Johnson?
You mean a supporter of Hillary?
Well, no. I mean, what is the Libertarian vice presidential nominee going to do to support Hillary?
Well, he's come out and talked about how great friends they are, couldn't find anything bad to say about her, basically said that she's the most qualified for president.
How is that going to take anything away from Trump?
I have no idea. He's just attacking Trump whenever he gets a chance, like saying bad things about him.
Sure, that's fine.
Calling him names.
The VP is supposed to be an attack dog for the presidential nominee, but
he doesn't have anything bad to say about Hillary Clinton. But anyway, while Weld's, let's see, quote, maybe somebody's going to come up with a new playbook, said Weld in a telephone interview. He said, I don't know who it's going to be, but it would be fun to participate. And what he's referring to there is how he plans on getting involved with Republicans after the election to try to create a new path for that particular party. He said he was holding a fundraiser and blah, blah, blah. Weld, a former Republican governor of Massachusetts, said he's focusing on Trump because while he disagrees with Hillary Clinton on fiscal and military issues, Trump's agenda is so objectionable it's, quote, in a class by itself, unquote. He said further, I think Mr. Trump's proposals in the foreign policy area, including nuclear proliferation, tariffs, and free trade, would be so hurtful domestically and in the world that he has my full attention, said Weld. He insisted he was not abandoning Johnson, although signaled that bolting from the Libertarian Party might be a possibility in the future. He says, quote, I'm certainly not going to drop them this year. Now, whoa, way to go out on a limb there for the party, Weld. There are only 3 more months left in this year, so that's not an exactly, really long time frame of a commitment there. So basically he's saying come 2017, he might just decide to cut the party loose and join the Republicans again.
Yeah, not the greatest quotes from the vice president presidential nominee.
Well, what I have to say is don't let the door hit him.
Yeah, well, right. But amazingly, there's so many so-called libertarians out there jumping over themselves to defend this guy. I mean, it's almost like this guy can't say anything wrong for these people. Oh, my God, he might get us a few extra votes. We can't possibly throw him under the bus.
Right, and one thing that I heard constantly at the national convention was, Darryl, I agree with what you're saying, and your voice is needed in the party, but I'm voting for Gary, and maybe in 4 years it'll be the right time to have a principled libertarian nominee.
It won't be then
this
either.
election is just too important. Right. Every election in my entire life has been the most important election ever.
Now, to be fair, there is an article over at Reason.com, blog post, posted today by Matt Welch, where they interview Weld, and he claims that he didn't say what he appears to have said.
He says that he didn't say some of what they said he said. The New York Mag article actually has at the bottom, note, in an interview with Reason on Wednesday, Weld tried to clarify or walk back his remarks to the Globe. Mm-hmm. Quote, I said to the reporter that I plan to focus on Donald Trump because I think his international proposals represent a grave threat. But in the same breath, I said I'm not going to omit to make the point that Mrs. Clinton, if she were elected, runs the risk of spending and borrowing us into the poorhouse, and I think her fiscal policies and her military policies are not at all in line with the approach that Gary and I will take if elected. So nothing is to the exclusion of anything else. I did convey to the Globe the idea that I would be emphasizing the respects in which I think Mr. Trump's international proposals are wrong-headed. So he's saying he's going to focus on Donald, but that doesn't mean that he will not say anything bad about Hillary, despite mostly saying only good things about Hillary until this.
I guess my question to myself on this is how come I am I'm willing to let just about every candidate walk back their statement. Every candidate walks back their statement. There's always these things. But when this guy says these quotes that I see here, like, it makes me not want to let him walk this back.
Because he's a slimeball politician, and you know it. And then, he's a former governor of Massachusetts. What more do you need to know about this
recently
guy?
Donated to the Republican opponent of the LP's gubernatorial candidate. And some people will say, well, it was in the primary. Yeah, during the primary that everybody knew Chris Sununu was going to win, and those donations
was close as hell. What are you talking about?
After the LP had a nominee.
Right, and he worked against the most principled candidate in that race as well. There was a clear, more freedom-friendly choice there, and he did not donate to that one.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow night. FreeTalkLive.com.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.93 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports continued fighting over the central Yemeni city of Taiz continues to take a toll on the civilian population, with medical officials reporting rocket strikes against the Bir al-Bashad district, hitting a group of civilians, killing 10 of them, including children. Details are still scant, though pro-Saudi officials are quick to blame the Shiite Houthis for the attack, noting that the district has been a target for them in the past. Pictures of slain civilians were widely circulated on social media. The city of Taiz has been the site of major fighting on both sides, with the pro-Saudi forces trying to gain control of the main highway between their de facto capital of Aden and the capital city of Sana'a. The city is divided, however, and the Houthis have made recent gains. Fighting in urban areas around Yemen have left massive numbers of civilians dead, with both sides repeatedly faulted for careless targeting. The United Nations has estimated that a strong majority of the civilians slain in the war so far have been the result of Saudi airstrikes, though the Houthis have been responsible for quite a few themselves. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Oklahoma Supreme Court unanimously struck down a bill passed by the state legislature restricting abortion in a ruling on Tuesday that the measure was unconstitutional. Senate Bill 642 was passed in 2015 but did not go into effect pending a court decision. It encompassed 4 abortion-related topics: parental consent for minors, tissue preservation, inspection of clinics, and legal liability of abortion providers. Justice Joseph Watt wrote for the 9-member court, "We find that each of the 4 sections of SB 642 lack a common purpose and are not germane, relative, and cognate. Although each section relates in some way to abortion, the broad sweep of each section does not cure the single subject defects in this bill. Although defendants urge that SB 642 does not constitute log rolling, we find the provisions are so unrelated that those voting on this bill were faced with a constitutionally prohibited all-or-nothing choice to ensure the passage of favorable legislation." The 9-member court ruled the legislation placed an undue burden on access to